Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. Welcome back to another week of Wednesday night Cup action here on the Vortex Racing Network. Today we got week 2 of season 1 of the SWC Moonlight Cup Series action here at Las Vegas. Getting ready to rock and roll for another week here. The Vegas 180 going to kick off here in just a few minutes. We got 10 minutes left in practice. The boys of Moonlight Racing League and the former DDIRL, now SWC Racing League, are getting ready for the action here on the West Coast. Buddy, did you get all your gambling in before tonight's race?
I don't know if I did or not. Tonight we're at Sin City for 100, and I don't remember the total lap count, but we're here for 100 and something laps. And Vegas is one of those places where has the famous saying of what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So hopefully it's a good one tonight.
Oh yeah, looking forward to seeing what the boys of the league have in store for us tonight. 120 laps to be specific for tonight's race. Got that stage at the end of lap 60, so a lot of points to be up for grabs, just like we saw to start the season last week back at Daytona. Some wild action in that race. We saw Justin Parham get the pole for the first race of the season, the Shameless Watch Collector Daytona opener for the season there, and Brandon Wybera ran the fastest lap in that race. But the fastest boys were the Grandstand Racing team there. Justin Parham, Ken Redinger, and Jay Stinson pretty much had control of the entire race. Parham had some connection issues, ended up dropping out. And then we saw Jay Stinson, Ken Redinger try and do their best to hold off the rest of the field. It all came down to the last lap, though, buddy, where we saw Jay Stinson have to give that last-second clutch push to Ken to make sure they were able to get the dub.
Yeah, that was a super close finish. Last week we saw Quesabira almost squeaked it out, but Redinger got around on the outside. Some of the other issues that happened last week that hopefully we don't see tonight is we noticed a whole lot of netcode problems last week at Daytona. That's definitely something that we don't want to see this go around here in week 2.
Yeah, we definitely want to stay away from all of the issues we saw last week with netcode. Great finish to the race, though. We saw the closest finish in series history, just over 1/100th of a second between Ken Redinger and Jonathan Quesabir. And that leads us to the action here tonight. We're just a few minutes away from the start of qualifying here for the race tonight. And I will say, buddy, I did run some practice laps here last night just to get a feel for the car, see what it's like for these boys, and oh my, it is going to be a wild one. Qualifying should be pretty much flat out, but when we get into the race, just factoring in the dirty air effect, the ability of having other cars around you, and everything else, it's going to turn into a wild one.
Vegas is always one of those. It was one of my favorite combos back in the day whenever everyone raced a Gen 6. This track combo is always super, super fun. I did see also where they're having some setup problem or some default setup problems. So I do believe they're running custom setups now for a lot of these tracks in the Gen 6 car.
Yep, iRacing, of course, through all of the changes, and then, of course, all of the new track evolutions, the track refreshes, it really has scrubbed a lot of old setups. So that's something to keep our eye on as the season goes on. Another thing to keep our eye on is the point standings. Ken Redinger last week was almost near perfect and scored 70 points in the opener, has a massive points lead already, trying to defend the title from his truck championship last season, now moving over to Cup over here. Still the same series, just different cars. Ken showing, though, that it don't matter what kind of car he's in, he's going to be at the top of the point standings. You see Jay Stinson, he's got a bit of a gap to make up already if he wants to get his way to the lead of the regular season points. Matt Novella had a really good points day as well, along with your second place finisher, Jonathan Quesabir, and then Patrick Calgill rounding out that top 5. And you can see on back the rest of the drivers trying to fight their way up the standings. But we're so early, Buddy, and all we had was a wild race at Daytona so far. So, the picture's going to get crazier as we go on, but might be a little bit too soon to start talking about that kind of stuff.
Super early still in the season. I mean, we are only on week 2, so that cutoff stuff. We've seen how drastic the swings can be in some of these races and stuff. So if you're under that cutoff line, don't even think twice about it right now. There's still plenty of time to make up ground on everyone.
One thing I'm watching these boys out on track. I'm watching, scrolling through. I see Jordan Finnegan down there in turn 3 and 4. I'm watching Kyle Anott right in front of him. You got him actually right up there on the screen. And if you watch them here when they go down into turn 1, just look at the front end of their. Yeah, there you go. That's a great view of it right there of what I'm talking about. There's a lot of bottoming out going on around this track. What do you think that's kind of doing to the balance of the car, not only on a short run, but then when we get deeper into one of these long fuel runs?
So I know I can only imagine what that looks like being the car behind with just sparks flying everywhere. It is kind of impressive, but as far as what it does to the car, it kind of makes you want to think if they're having maybe a little bit of run-in. You would think it would make the car push because you're not actually compressing the front suspension as much because you're kind of resting the car on the frame right there by the front tires is what it looks like to me. So I'm not sure how that's going to help or hurt or how it's going to affect the cars over a field run or anything. Luckily, we don't have where the frame gets worn down and break and soft and see these cars split in two after 50 laps of dragging like that. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of effect that has on the cars, though, over the run or over the long run.
I'm very interested to see that as well. I'm trying to look around, see of guys going on a little bit longer runs. Trying to see if I can find somebody out there on track that may have done a little bit of a longer run here. Justin Parham, somebody I'm looking at. He's on pit road currently. Looks like he ran about 40 laps in a row. Started out running a 30.5, and by the time he pitted, he was running, it looks like 31.7, 31.8. So that was about 35 laps into that run. So pretty much the way the fuel tank works here today, it looks like it's about 55 to 60 laps. So they can almost make it to the stage without a problem on fuel. But looking at these lap times for tires, Buddy, I'm thinking this may be a strategy. As you can see, Michael Amata having some trouble there coming out of 4. It looks like he's going to do some donuts in that nice Dente paint scheme. What I'm looking at is potentially 2 different strategies where guys try and save fuel. If we go green, of course, guys try and save fuel, make it to halfway to get stage points, but then sacrifice their race because they went so far on that set of tires to the guys that may go for a 2-stopper and pit a little bit earlier.
Before the race, that was one of the things I was thinking of. Like, they're running 100% fuel tanks in these cars, which is kind of uncommon for a lot of the series and the different leagues that we race in. Most of them are limited fuel. There's about 20 to 25 extra laps that people aren't used to running on a fuel run on a set of tires. So they have to keep that tire conservation in the back of their mind a little bit, knowing that if it goes green, they got 20 to 25 extra laps that they're going to have to go on one set of tires just to run the fuel tank out.
That's really what I'm looking at. Looks like they got 4 tire sets, so that should be 3 changes today. This is either going to be a 1-stop or a 2-stop if it goes green, so guys may have either 1 or 2 sets of tires laying in their pits, depending on the way either cautions fall or the way they play the race out. We'll see what the superior strategy is, and if all this talk about strategy won't even matter or not. We got practice is about to wrap up right here. So as we watch the boys go a little wild here at the finish. I think it's a good time to go trackside for our pre-race activities. Beautiful flyover returns again here for race number 2. You can see the boys qualifying already. Brandon Wybera, first one to put down a lap time. He's currently second on the boards because Cody Matthews' first lap was a little bit faster right there. Looks like he ran a 30.402. We're watching everybody's lap times right now. Wybera going to be the first one to complete 2 laps here. As he crosses the line on the second lap, he will go fastest up to a 33.69. So it looks like second lap might be the hot lap here. We'll continue watching as everybody comes around. Let's see Patrick Calgill starting his first lap. Jay Stinson just ran his first lap. He's 4th currently. Matt Novella, who's somebody uncharacteristic for being a hot lapper, currently on the provisional pole at this moment. And just as I say that, Michael Mata comes out with a 253. Case Sabir comes out with a 241. So the Intimidente paint schemes go 1-2 right there. Man, it's hot, hard hitting, fast hitting qualifying. And Jay Stinson will find a way to jump his way up to 3rd right there. He ran a 33.19. Watching everybody else, Graham McGivern just finished his run. He's currently in 8th. Patrick Calgill coming out of turn number 2 down the backstretch on his second lap currently. You can see Kevin Kyle out there getting his car up to speed on the first lap. Lots of action going on out here right now. Waiting to see who's going to be the pole sitter here tonight. I see Justin Parham just pulled out of the pits, as well as looks like Ken Redinger as well. Those two on their out laps currently. Zach Hillman's on his first lap, so a lot of different guys out there qualifying. Patrick Calgill goes P3 currently with a 294 right there on his second lap. Kevin Kyle just put down his first lap. Good enough. Looks like he's fully committed to going all in on the second lap. And we saw this last week, didn't we, Buddy, where we saw, I believe it was Parham who backed off on the first lap and then put in the heater on the second.
Yeah, that was Parham last week at Daytona. It looks like the same strategies at play here a little bit to some of these drivers. It seems like the drivers were, the field's a little bit split half and half with who wants to qualify at the start versus towards the end of qualifying. And hopefully everything is still running fine, Joe, because my cat stepped on my power button.
Oh yeah, I think we're all good here. It looks, I mean, everything looks normal.
All right.
So I would say we're good. Ken Redinger out there running his second quali lap right now. Kyle Lanott's on his first. Looking around, I see Parham's coming around 3 and 4 on his second lap here as well. So we'll see what Redinger and Parham have here. They're about to put down their second lap. Survey says, looks like Parham's going to move his way up to 5th. Because Ken Redinger goes to the top of the board, 235 from him. 6/1000s faster than Casabir. Steve Lewis out there on his second lap currently. He was P12 on lap 1, ran a 30.380. Right now, we're going to wait and see what he could do on his second lap. Here he goes through 3 and 4. Looks like he may have washed up just a little bit out of turn 4, coming to the line, and
Didn't make it.
iRacing will not count his second lap, so we will never know if that was fast enough to get anything better on the board for him. Some other guys ran out of time there qualifying as well. But Ken Redinger is going to be the one to get the pole here for race number 2 of the season. So Grandstand Racing going to get the pole for week 1 and week 2 right there. He's going to have Jonathan Casabir joining him on the front row. Behind them, we see Michael Mata, Patrick Cowgill going to be on row number 2. We got Patrick doing his normal pre-race speech right now, talking about worrying about netcode, so that's something that we're going to keep in mind for tonight's race as well. Behind them in row number 3, we see Justin Parr, the pole sitter from last week, going to start alongside teammate Matthew Fritz. Behind them, Jay Stinson going to start in P7 alongside Matt Novella in 8th. As we keep on going back, I think we see in P9. Okay, we got Kevin Kyle and Cody Matthews rolling out there in row number 5. So 10 for 10 for 2 weeks in a row with Cody Matthews there. 10's wild for him 2 weeks in a row. Brandon Wybera going to start P11 alongside Steve Lewis, who ran out of time on his second lap. Zach Hillman going to start alongside Jordan Finnegan on row number 7. Row number 8 consists of Dalton Geyer and Kyle Lynott. Lynott not able to get his second lap in there either. The last one to put down a lap time was Graham McGivern. He'll start P17 alongside Brandon Lawless, the first one not to put down a lap time here tonight for qualifying. Behind them in row 10, we see Glenn Grigsby, Mark Zabak, and then rounding out the field is going to be Danny Sanchez in 21st. And man, those guys that didn't qualify, I'm expected to see them work their way to the front early. Brandon Lawless has shown a lot of speed in the past at mile and a halfs. Mark Zabak has been very fast here at mile and a halfs as of late, as well as Danny Sanchez pretty much everywhere. Glenn Grigsby, somebody that usually works his way from the back of the field as well. So there's some fast boys there at the back.
Yeah, a little bit of these races. I don't know. After seeing what the issues that we saw last week, I don't blame some people for wanting to start in the back, because not really knowing how the car is going to react to netcode. We saw a lot of bobbing and weaving of cars that actually wasn't doing that last week at Daytona. So some of these guys might just be trying to play a little bit cautious, have a nice calm race, start in the back, and just slowly make their way forward as tires wear off with that fuel run that we were talking about being such a large number of laps that a lot of people might not be used to.
One crucial thing from last week that didn't carry over to this week is the faster pair. Faster pair is only for the super speedway races, so we're back to a normal racetrack here this week at Vegas, so no faster pair. So that may have had the hand in the decision here as well from some of the drivers not to qualify and start in the back. Pace car about ready to pull off here in turn number 4. Gonna lead us to the green flag is gonna be Ken Redinger. Gonna get ready for the green flag as the pace car makes a hard left-hand turn right there. Coming into the restart zone is Ken with Casabir alongside him. Green flag is out, and we're off for 120 laps at Las Vegas tonight. Great jump on the inside. Michael Mata with a great push to Ken Redinger. Those two able to get very far clear. Justin Parham trying to peek on the inside right there. Everybody going to stay single file, though, on the inside there. No 3-wide action. Everybody just going to go 2 by 2. And much like we saw at the beginning of Daytona last week, inside gets a huge jump, but now we got the shuffling and jockeying going throughout the field.
Look at all the sparks flying everywhere. Almost a wreck down there on the bottom. Oh, they are wrecking. Geyer's loose.
Dalton Geyer through the grass. This 3-car of Zach Hillman is around on the front stretch as well as he tries to get it turned around. Absolute chaos here at the end of lap number 1. Try and look around. It looks like Zach Hillman is going to be the one that was the big loser out of this. And you can see right there, a lot of those sparks. Oh, Steve Lewis really sideways behind him.
They were both loose right there.
Yeah.
And number 3 just kind of got loose, came up. Geyer had no idea what was going on and just got blindsided there on the inside. And that was caution number 1 on lap number 1, I think. Or did we make it to lap 2?
Well, I would consider that lap 1 because of where the wreck happened.
I don't expect anyone to come down pits here.
Well, I mean, I'm going to expect 2 people to come down to pit here. Zach Hillman and, of course, the car right behind him, it looks like, or actually going to be in front of him. Dalton Geyer was able to get it. Or if I can find Dalton Geyer. Oh, yeah, there he is. He's down pit
There's
road.
actually a couple people pitting here. Grigsby, Hillman.
You know what I'm thinking? Some people may have gotten a little bit of spooked right there, and they want to make sure that they're not involved in anything here early. Plus the potential, if we do find a way to go green, having a little extra splash of fuel right here may be the difference between making it to that halfway point and not making it.
That's definitely the truth here. Like you were talking about earlier, how close it will be to come into that stage with the laps that they're going to be able to do. So there might be some people trying to play that strategy before anything throws it out the window.
Yeah, the one thing I think we both noticed it pretty clearly there. Going down into turn 3 for the first time, it turned into an absolute spark show down there. And I think we got our answer pretty quick based on the way the cars were bottoming out there. And then with all the air going on around them, it looks like it may be a bit of a loose one because we saw Steve Lewis have a moment. He was able to correct his, but Zach Hillman was not able to save his before making contact with Dalton Geyer. So those 2 had to get a little bit of damage fixed right there. Looks like also, if we look forward there, the last car off pit road was Kyle Lynott, curiously. I don't know what happened there, but he just rolled off pit road down the backstretch right now. Got a lot of ground to make up.
He was sitting in there for about a minute and 20 seconds, too. He was definitely sitting in there for a minute.
It's very interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on what's going on with Kyle Lynott as we move on, as the rest of the field gets ready to double up
down here.
Interesting. All right, so Kyle Lynott got something going on. We'll have to keep our eye on him in the background here. You can see, though, for the next restart here, Ken Redinger going to choose the outside for this one instead of the traditional inside starting spot, which you have to take on the initial start. So
they must be really close because Kyle just stopped gas and went. He was not in there at all for any time, 4 seconds.
Kyle Lynott on some sort of a pit strategy here. We'll see if it works out. Gonna have a lot of ground to make up. Also gonna have to catch up before the field goes green here because the pace car is about to turn off here off the track once again and get ready to go. So Ken Redinger going to be to the outside this time. He's got his teammate Justin Parham behind him. Teammates of Mata Kesabir to the inside for this restart. Here they come into the restart zone, and we're off. Great jump by Ken Redinger on the outside. He's going to pull Justin Parham along with him. The 2 teammates of Kesabir Mata on the inside trying to push, stay alongside Justin Parham into turn number 1, able to get that done. But Ken Redinger gets clear of everybody, gets about a good car length and a half right there on the field. And now you got Michael Mata getting a good run out of turn number 2, trying to close in here on Ken Redinger. Everybody else going too wide down into turn number 3 for the continued spark show here at Las Vegas.
Definitely a spark show happening, and the race isn't even over yet. We're seeing fireworks. Does look like Ken Redinger has a little bit of advantage with clean air. Kesabir or Mata in the, was that the 91?
Yeah, that is the 91. That's a new number for him, I think, there, buddy. So
yeah, I think so. I'm just looking to the inside of Redinger here.
It's gonna get a little bit tight down there, though. That time, gonna wash up. It looks like the 19 may have scraped the wall a little bit there. Out of 4, got very close for everybody, but everybody able to hold on and continue going straight.
Oh.
Looks like some more contact with the wall in turn number 1. Everybody's still good, though. Justin Parham trying to get a run on the outside, but Mata going to close the door. And now you can see the scramble on back. Farm trying to go to the inside, but he's got Calgill to his outside now. And man, these cars are just sparking everywhere.
I'm gonna have to go to the end car right fast in one of these corners, because I want to see what these guys are seeing with the sparks here. Let's see.
I can only imagine what somebody like a Jay Stinson or Patrick Calgill, as they go 3 wide. Here comes Calgill up the middle, gonna try and make a move here for second place. It looks like Parham is gonna back out of that one. Doesn't want anything to do with 3 wide this early in the race. It's still unpredictable how these cars are driving at this point. Especially with all the sparks. I've never seen anything like this.
There we go. Let's see into turn 1 here. Oh no, they're wrecking.
Big wreck. 91's around. Oh, and he gets piled into by about 4 or 5 cars. Zach Hillman, Dalton Guy, RSC, Kevin Kyle, Mark Zabok, all involved in this one as well. It's the big one in turn 1.
You know, that was horrible timing. That was horrible timing for me to change the camera, but we got an onboard look at the wreck. All right, let's go back and unpack it here.
Oh no.
Unfortunately, these guys don't have a fast repair this week. Oh, hit the wrong button. Kind of already started there.
You know what?
What?
Seeing that out of the glimpse, I guarantee you, if you roll this back, it's gonna be netcode. I guarantee you, because that looked like I don't think they were close. I could be wrong, but I feel like this is. I've got a feeling this is netcode.
Go to Far Chase here.
Okay, I
think Calgill just kind of maybe thought Mata was a little bit further to the outside or something. Kind of. I had that happen to me in a recruitment race where I thought I had more room to the outside than I did. Super easy to do whenever.
There it is.
Oh man! Oh goodness! Geyer got a pretty good look underneath of Mata there a little bit, and Zabok sliding around again. He was involved in that other one a little bit, getting loose and running up the track. But man, that's unfortunate for some of these guys.
Yeah, the whole front end of Kevin Kyle's car got completely torn off right there. So
we got Dalton Geyer with a. We have Dalton Geyer with a meatball. We have Kevin Kyle with a meatball. We have Mark Zabok with just a regular black flag. I think he might have been speeding in pits or something, just trying to get to.
Get as much fixed as possible. All right, so we're looking through the field, and yeah, the one car was absolutely destroyed right there in that one. Looking at Zabok's damage, it looks like he's got minor front end damage. I just saw a big chunk of it actually pop out, so they should be able to get that car fixed up. Looking at Dalton Geyer's car, that must be mostly suspension damage because I don't see a lot of cosmetic damage on that car, so they might have a suspension failure going on from his wreck. Oh, well, no, Dalton Geyer's fine. He's rolling. There you go.
Yeah, he's going. The only people kind of sitting there, Kevin Kyle might be.
I don't think that car's rolling anytime soon.
Zabok's still sitting in there. We do have 8 people watching, though, so welcome to the Vortex Racing Network. If you're enjoying yourself, give a shout-out in chat or something. We'll talk to you. And welcome to the SWC Moonlight Cup Series here on Wednesday nights.
And Michael Mata's rear end, the car was missing its rear clip. It now has it back on, but it's severely destroyed. All the damage on this car looks to be to the rear of the car. So we'll have to keep our eye on how his car handles as we move through the rest of this race. He's probably going to need a caution or two.
You know what? These cautions help a little bit. These guys staying out here to ensure that they get to that lap 60 stage. It's really, really easy to save fuel under caution. So the more cautions that stack up here, the greater possibility it is that they're not going to be risking that much trying to make it to the stage.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we see that in other series as well here recently, being able to save some fuel under cautions. But we're getting ready to go green here once again. Looks like Ken Redinger going to take the inside this time, and we're off for another restart. Ken going to get away very well here. If he's able to move on up, he may try and use the draft to help his two teammates on the outside there. But you can see Jay Stinson now under attack from the inside from Patrick Cowgill. On back, I see Brandon Wybera making a move right there on Justin Parham for the 4th spot. And behind them, you can see Jonathan Casabir trying to work his way back forward with some help from Matt Novella behind. Look at that, Steve Lewis all over the back of Matthew Fritz. These boys are still going hard at it, even after a wreck.
Oh, man. I thought they were going to go 3 wide out of 3 right there, or out of 4.
Very close with each other, buddy. We're not going 3 wide, but with the unpredictability of the car here from all the bottoming out and the way the air is moving around, and then of course the fabled netcode, if that ever happens again, hopefully not. These guys are trying to not take it 3 wide here at this point in the race. You can see Justin Parham there on the outside of Casabir. Looks like he's going to lose a spot there. So Casabir able to make a move around the inside. Guys really trying to get to the bottom here at this point in the race. You can see Wybera going to try and make a move around the inside of Cowgill. Not really what I expected here early, buddy. I thought the outside might have had the ability to roll with some more speed.
Definitely looks like the inside is able to hold their own right here, but I think we might need the tires to wear down a little bit later in the run for that outside to come to play. Vegas is one of those tracks that you can kind of run the top in some of the other vehicles that we use on iRacing later in the run, get some decent momentum off the exits, and trying to get someone on the inside usually requires a pretty risky slide job or something like that. We do have a couple people in chat. Kyle Lynott said he snuck his phone into his car and wants to know what is up from us. And Kevin Kyle, the car we've seen damaged, broken on pit lane, is not very happy with what happened to him.
Yeah, that was a rough wreck right there. You saw the big wreck happen in front of him. Patrick Cowgill got into the car right there next to him. That was Michael Mata, spun him around right in front of the whole field, and then it created the whole chaos. Unfortunate break for Kevin Kyle, got wiped out from that one. And Michael Mata was able to get away with minor damage from it. And Patrick Cowgill is actually battling for second right now. So he's still going just fine as well. Kevin going to be the unfortunate victim of that one. Hate to see that so early in the race. He looked like he had a lot of speed in practice, put down a good qualifying effort, and was working his way forward. I was really looking forward to actually seeing that number 1 car out there. He's got a pretty cool paint scheme down there on pit road. I actually saw somebody in the chat say something in the racing chat. I think it was Patrick Cowgill, said he knew the guy that made the paint scheme that he was running. So that was pretty cool to see. It's a nice little Hoonigan car down there, but unfortunately not in good shape at this point. Speaking of guys that are in good shape, though, Steve Lewis making some moves there, trying to get around Kyle Lynott, who's texting and driving, and now getting to the inside of Justin Parham for 6th place right here. And you can just see everybody that keeps going to the outside is going backwards, because now Brandon Wybera going to get to the inside of the 42 for the race lead.
Wybera to the inside. Cowgill looks to the inside to follow Wybera right through there, and we're kind of seeing 2 different attacks split up, as I do believe Wybera should have the advantage here going into 3 and 4. Wybera is going to take over the lead on lap 20, coming to 21.
Not so fast, though. Here comes Ken Redinger with a push down towards turn number 1. Maybe going to try and make a move back. Nope, Ken's going to stay right behind him. Actually, he's going to wash up a little bit, maybe from some dirty air. Now trying to get a run around the outside of him. Man, he got a huge run out of nowhere right there. Ken Redinger around the outside of Wybera, and is now going to clear himself back to the race lead just like that. That's the first person I've seen really make the outside work like that to this point. Jay Stinson right behind them trying to do the same. And now Patrick Cowgill trying to peek around the outside of the 04. but not able to do anything. Maybe the outside's starting to come into play a little bit more.
Yeah, it looks like those guys running that middle line, not necessarily the top line or the Larson line that we would call it, but about one lane up in the middle of the turn or so, and 1 and 2. It looks like they're running a little bit higher in 3 and 4. As far and way up the track, Super Loose comes down in front of.
Oh, Kyle not the round.
That's what happens when you text and drive. That wasn't Lynotte's thing. It was they were loose up there and just not enough room. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I might be able to go back far enough to see. Yeah, we'll see Parham on the outside, and he's going to get really close to the wall here. And he's going to get loose up there, and they got Quesabir on the inside. And it's just a perfect combination of a stack up to kind of whip Lynott around.
And you know what? If you roll it back, I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna be right this time. I'm gonna be right this time. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm gonna be right this time when we go far chase.
Far chase, and I'll go to Lynott here. I do think this one's going to be a little bit of net code that starts it. Yeah. But I don't think Lynott's really going to get any damage off that. I just kind of whipped him around a little bit, sent him for a ride through the grass.
Yeah, you can see he's on pit road with some others. Matthew Fritz comes down pit road. I see the 91 of Michael Mata going to come down for some more damage repair here. Dalton Geyer probably as well.
We can try
you can see
this
Kyle
to make sure
already
it works.
out of the pit stall. Oh, here we go. Kyle's going to be the first one off, so let's see if it says that.
It's
by a nose. By a nose over Fritz. Hey, look at that. +1, -1. All right. Glenn Grigsby out third. Zabok gets out fourth. And then everybody else, I think, is down there fixing damage. So I'm looking down pit road. See Mata's still down there.
Yeah, they're going to be sitting there for a while getting some stuff fixed.
Zach Hillman just came into the pits. He's got some left rear damage to his car that he picked up, so he's going to look to get that fixed. I see Dalton Geyer still sitting on pit road as well. Kevin Kyle's car is still down there as well. I know that one's pretty beat up. So we got 19 cars on the lead lap because Mark Zabak currently being scored 3 down. Zach Hillman, I believe, just got the lucky dog right there, so that's why he was the last one onto pit road. He'll be in 19th place for this restart. He's going to have to get rolling, though, to stay on the lead lap here. Zach, get it going. Zach, no, you're going to lose the lap again.
Oh,
it's too late.
Oh, man.
Well, I think Hillman got the lap back, and he just gave it back. So giveth and taketh right there. So Zach Hillman now back a lap down. He's going to need another caution to get back into this. Back up front, though, Ken Redinger got the lead back there from Brandon Wybera after that power move around the outside. Very impressive to see what the 42 did on the outside after Wybera made the move on what we thought was the dominant lane. But Ken came back and said, no, we're going to go up high, and we're going to roll right around him. And you think we're going to see the same thing here, buddy? You think they're going to try and go back to the high line quick, or you think we're going to stay on the bottom for a few laps?
I think they're going to stay on the bottom for a few laps. That last restart, so far every time the Rangers restarted, he's chosen the outside. This time around, though, he has opted to take the inside, which is going to line him up with Calgill behind him, which is kind of weird because it kind of leaves it puts Stinson on the outside of behind Wybera there. So I don't know. It'll be interesting going into turn 1 here to see which lane they prefer.
Coming to the restart zone. Ken Redinger goes in the middle of the restart zone, gets away pretty good, gets a car length advantage on Brandon Wybera. Patrick Calgill gets the inside of Wybera for second place. They're going to be side by side behind Ken. Then you can see the teammates of Justin Parham, Jay Stinson, side by side right behind them. But Ken Redinger gets another good restart, and now you got Wybera pinching the 31 down there, gets him a little bit out of shape. Oh, and now they're making contact, and the 04's around on the backstretch.
Oh, that's going to get him a little bit of rear end damage. You know, I think that might be another.
I think
We
that
saw
was
that
side
wreck happen.
drafting gone wrong.
Yeah, side
is what it
drafting
looked
gone
like.
wrong. And Kyle Lynott says he wasn't texting and racing. So I guess he's just texting under caution.
Oh, well, we're gonna have to. Brad Keselowski, his phone. Then we're gonna have to get down there and commandeer that thing.
Oh, let's see here. Let me go back to Wybera.
Looking at the rear of his car, I think they might be no harm, no foul in terms of damage.
I want to go far chase and look at this one. Oh. It almost looked like Cowgill got sucked up there to his left rear. And then also a mixture of
You know that is the weirdest thing I've seen. Like if you roll that back, it looks like they weren't close to each other. And then like just randomly the 04 started getting like sucked into the 31. And then it
a weird
started the
one.
netcode contact. It's not like it started with netcode, but like they kind of got, I guess you can call it netcode because I think it was acting like they were a lot closer than they were. And that's what started the spin around, and then the actual netcode contact started, and that caused the spin. So that's going to send the 04 around. I think all he's going to need is potentially a new set of tires and maybe a new set of pants. I don't see any damage on the rear of that car, so I think he got away with this one. Yeah, the rear of the car looks completely clean to me, so I think Wybera got away with this in terms of damage purposes. Just gonna have to be careful, make sure that the tires aren't too worn out, and then of course we may see some pit strategy here as well. Still seeing some cars down pit road. See Michael Mata getting that rear end still fixed up there. It looks like they got half of it knocked out pretty decently, but still a lot of work to be done to get that car back to full strength. Behind him, Dalton Geyer got a lot of right rear damage to his car that they're still trying to fix up as well. Mark Zabok is currently still being scored 3 down in 20th. And then Zach Hillman gets the lucky dog again, so he's back on the lead lap again. And then we will see if he's able to get any sort of spots done here. He's going to stay out, it looks like.
Who was that going down pits? Michael Mata
You can see
out.
there Mata's getting his car fixed. Kevin Kyle's car is fixed.
Kevin
Kyle, he's back out on track. Let's go, baby. The Hoonigan car is rolling once again. I can't believe they got the front clip on that thing fixed.
I got a little bit of housekeeping to do in chat. Kyle Lynott said he's going to be talking to us a lot with the race, the way this is going tonight. And Brandon Grand just says this guy, AZ 4Runner, want to know what car it is, and this is a Gen 6 car. And that is our chat wrap up.
Let's go, baby. And you know what? You know what I just saw? Kevin went out on track. He ran a lap with the car fixed, and then he came in and he pitted, and that was it.
And it says that he's out too. Oh no.
So it looks like he got the car fixed. Very interesting. He came out, and then he immediately came in and called it. So that is very interesting. Well, here we go. We're getting ready for another restart. Pace car is off the track. Here comes Ken Redinger, going to come down to lead the field to green once again. You got Parham behind him. Good restart from Ken. Gets away by multiple car lengths this time. Caught everybody sleeping behind him. Justin Parham side by side now with Patrick Cowgill for second. Looking on back through the field. You can see a lot of side-by-side action on back. Justin Parham, though, trying to make a move up the inside of Patrick Cowgill for second. You see Jonathan Casevere following in third on the inside line there. Jay Stinson trying to do something on the outside of him. And then a lot of 2x2 action on back.
Everyone 2x2 aside from Redinger in the lead.
3 wide. There's the 3 wide action a little further back. I saw Kyle Lynott going 3 wide with some people, as well as they're scrambling. back
Geyer
there.
was super unstable trying to get down on the apron.
Lots of interesting driving right there. Guys trying to make the moves. See the draft really making an effect. Jay Stinson diving it to the inside of Cowgill, trying to get third place right there, but gets tight in the center of the corner, and Casabir going to take it 3 wide.
Really close racing right there, and that was netcode that didn't end in a crash somehow. Saw Stinson's car kind of bounce and wiggle, and they're getting a little bit close for comfort here. And we've only made it 30 laps in this 120 lap race. Well, 32 laps. Definitely been a high on the caution count, as it looks
we got some
Redinger and Barton racing for the lead here.
There's an interesting exchange across the radio. It sounds like something happened with the 988 right there. I think they were able to sort it out, though. Everybody's going straight still. And you can see there, yeah, I think you just touched on it. The pack is really broken away here up towards the front. There's a group of cars that have gotten very far away from everybody else. And you can see them battling hard here. Looks like Matt Novella, Steve Lewis side by side towards the back of this group. Also see Cowgill and Stinson still side by side battling for position just in front of them. Ken Redinger continues to lead the race here, though, over teammate Justin Parham. Jonathan Casabier's worked his way up to third, and then you got that battle for fourth right behind them. They're still stalemated side by side, trying to figure out who's going to be the guy in fourth. And now Casabier back it up towards them, and now you can see Parham trying to make a move maybe around the outside of Ken Redinger. Lots of battles starting to brew up here in the lead group.
On that backstretch, it looked like Casabier got a little bit tight and had to come off the throttle, and I think that's what brought him back to Stinson and Cowgill. Looks like Cowgill was able to hold his own on the bottom there off of 2, and everyone up here in this lead group looks like they're single file. Matt Novella looking to the outside. I think some of these guys are getting really tight.
Yeah, I just saw Justin Parham. It looked like he washed up the track, and Casabier was able to get to his inside right there in turns 1 and 2. So we'll see if he's able to continue that momentum. But the outside in 1 and 2 does work a little bit better, and the cars usually turns a little bit better on that end of the track than it does down here in 3 and 4. So we'll really watch and see. Yeah, you can see Parham's car just washing up. He's got to get out of the throttle there. Oh, we got a wreck. We got multiple cars spinning. It looked like Cody Matthews was around.
Oh,
along
Novella.
with Novella.
Oh,
They're still wrecking.
I don't have a caution yet.
I don't see any sort of caution, not hearing caution on the radio or anything. Cody Matthews is rolling again, but they definitely had a lot of contact. Novella, Jay Stinson, and Cody Matthews all with contact. I think they just got really tight 3 wide right there.
I think everything's settled down. I'm going to go back and try to look at it.
Yep, we got some left side damage on Jay Stinson's car. Trying to find where Matt Novella is. Cody Matthews fell to the back of the field. Yeah, here you go. And this is what we were talking about, getting tight. You can see Jay gets the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's just nowhere to go for anybody. The unfortunate reality of what happens in these close pack races when somebody gets tight is there's not really that much space when something goes awry. There's another wreck. The 11 cars around on the backstretch in turn 3.
Oh, that one is a caution.
We got a caution.
All right,
like
let's go back and look at that.
The 11 and the 33 got caught up, it looks like, with each other, and that will be a caution.
That kind of saves Novella and them having that wreck with no caution. It'll let them kind of maintain where they're at, and I don't know if we might see some people try to pit here and take tires, but it looks like it just came down off the wall in front of.
You might want to roll that back. I don't know. There may have been more contact. That looked very.
Is it going to be net code again?
Did the 33 get loose? And it looked like it started with him in the 04. Oh, yep, net code right there.
And then just
so net code with the 04, and then net code with the 11. Wybera gets lucky to not get net coded into the outside wall.
That's going to be heavy hits on the inside where Wybera kind of got lucky whenever he hit that spot of the wall.
Yeah, he was able to get his car turned around and just hit it with the left rear, just grazed it. This is a lot heavier contact for Graham
And we
McGivern,
have a lot of
as well
people
as
coming
Zabok.
down pit road, so we'll be able to
Oh yeah,
we'll be able to test this race off pit road here right quick.
yeah. All right, so we're on lap 40, so this pretty much does open it up to be a two-stop race for everybody throughout the field. So we'll see who does what coming off pit road. Waiting to see what Ken Redinger and everybody else do. Looks like everybody going to take 4 tires right here. And the first car off pit road is going to be Zach Hillman.
Plus 12.
Zach Hillman beats everybody
He only had an 8-second stop. Everyone else had 14 and 15, so I don't think he took tires, or maybe just 2.
Zach Hillman with an aggressive strategy here, going to gain the most spots on pit road, take over the race lead from Ken Redinger. You can see Jonathan Casebeer come out directly behind them. Then you have Parham Calgill, Steve Lewis, Brandon Lawless, Danny Sanchez, Michael Amata, and Matthew Fritz rounding out the top 10. Got a bunch of cars on pit road getting damage repaired again here as we look back. Just saw Dalton Geyer come off pit road. Looks like Brandon Wybera pulling off pit road now after getting repairs done. Same with Kyle Lynott. Jay Stinson looks like he just got his car done, fixed up. Graham McGivern is going to be able to roll here as well, so glad to see that that car is still able to roll and looks in good shape. Zabok and tires, I think.
He's sitting with the meatball.
Oh, that's not getting tires. That's the
broken.
Yeah, that's very broken then, because it looks like the car's jacked up. That's how messed up the suspension is on that one. So tough break for Zabok right there.
Coming to this restart, we're going to have Zach Hillman, a different leader for the first time, I believe, this race. We'll have to see how that affects Ken. A lot of these guys up here, except for Hillman, I think have all 4 tires. So whatever advantage Hillman has, I don't look for it to be an advantage for very long.
Yep, so even though we did see Wybera lead a lap, Ken Redinger's had the control of every restart up until this one. So Zach Hillman's going to have control of the restart, so maybe able to play little games, get away for about, I don't know, 500 yards before everybody on fresh tires ends up ganging up on him here. We'll see, though. We could always be wrong, and maybe his tires are a little bit better than we think. But Zach Hillman going to have an interesting strategy here in play. As the pace car gets ready to pull off, there it goes down pit road. Zach Hillman going to have control into the restart zone. Ken Redinger alongside him. Zach Hillman going to go late in the box, gets a decent start there, and gets away by about a 2-car length advantage over Casebeer. Outside, did not get a good jump right there. Looked like they may have stacked up a little bit. Ken Redinger going to lose multiple spots off the start.
Tires.
And here we go.
No.
There
Bump
it is.
Run.
The bump. That's right. Just going to bump him right up out of the way. And you can see the older tires on Hillman already in effect. And he's going to try and just hold on for dear life. But Jonathan Casebeer, after being near inches away from winning last week, now going to be leading here tonight at Las Vegas. So 2 good weeks coming from the Intimidente 73 car. Jonathan Casebeer trying to hold on now for the next 17 laps to get a stage win, but pure chaos going on behind him as Danny Sanchez works his way up to 3rd, and now you got Ken Redinger trying to push him clear of Zach Hillman.
Zach Hillman falling back through the field like this is a little bit risky for these other guys on fresher tires because space runs out really quick whenever you have that big of a difference in closing speed, and it can catch some people off guard where it just results in a caution or a wreck whenever one necessarily wasn't intended for. And in 2.5 laps, Zach Hillman went from the lead back to 7th and just steadily dropping here. But this is just a tire difference.
Pure tire difference right there.
Calgill able to get around Case of Beer and take over the lead here on lap 46 of 120. Which we're getting kind of close to that stage. We got about 14 laps left, 15 laps left.
You can see Ken Redinger trying to push Danny Sanchez now clear of the 73 of Case of Beer, able to get that done. So now Danny Sanchez in tow of the 31 car. They're now running in first and second. Looks like some guys getting a little bit tight there, including the 73 of Case of Beer. Going to open up the door for the 19 of Parham and now the 04 of Wybera to get to his inside as well. So Brandon Wybera able to turn around what was running outside the top 15 there because of that wreck just a couple laps ago, is now back up front. And now you can see Ken Redinger setting up a move on Patrick Calgill for the race lead into turn 3, and he's going to be able to clear the 31 without much trouble. Justin Parham going to try and follow suit, but going to have to tuck in behind Calgill, stay in third place, and then side by side behind them. But here we go, Patrick now trying to get a run back at the 42, not able to do anything though.
Now, Redinger able to hold on to the lead right there, feed all the dirty air to Calgill and Parham, and all these other guys behind are kind of just stuck in dirty air traffic.
I just saw contact towards the rear of the field. It looked like Jay Stinson and Michael Mata got some neck code, and everybody's okay.
Check up here at the front. No,
oh,
the 83
and there's
around.
More neck code, and we're wrecking.
Brandon Lowell is...
You could see that one in live action was also a netcode incident. So the two Intimidente cars get involved in some netcode stuff back to back right there. Saw Michael Mata in the wall down the backstretch, and then we saw the 73 and the 83 get some netcode contact right there that sends Lawless around.
I think that's what's going to... So there was something that happened where you're talking about all the stuff happening in the back. There was something that happened before this that stacked all these guys up. They're really close, 2 and 3 wide right here in second, third, fourth, and fifth. And just not a whole lot of room to... Everyone did a pretty decent job on dodging him spinning around there. Doesn't look like he hit the outside wall too bad, so hopefully he's not damaged too horribly bad.
To wait and see. It looks like Graham McGivern did have to come back down pit road, fix some more damage. He's out 8 laps down in 19th. I do see Mark Zabok and Kevin Kyle both out of the race in 20th and 21st. So that leaves 18 cars rolling in this one, and or 19 cars still rolling, 18 of them on the lead lap.
With a late pit entry there.
See if that's going to give him an EOL or not. You got to be careful. Make sure you're down there before the line. I would imagine he's probably coming to take fuel here. I do see some of the other guys, though. The 91, the 18, going to come down for some more damage repair. Looks like they both have some scrapes. And then, of course, we see Lawless down here for damage repair as well. Looks like Glenn Grigsby going to do just a little splash and go for himself. So mostly damage repair here from these guys. I wonder, seeing the left side, if you look at the left side of the 91 car of Michael Mata, I don't know if it's just my screen, but it looks like it's still a little bit messed up on Michael Mata. And he rolled out of the pits there pretty quick.
The left? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it looks like the left side, right in front of the door. So I wonder if, like right in front of the left rear wheel well, it looks like it might be a little messed up still.
It does look like it's dinged a little bit compared to the car behind him.
So I'm curious. We're gonna have to find out maybe later on if there's unfixable damage in the Gen 6 car, similar to that we see in the truck series, where that damage around that panel right there, right in front of the rear wheel well, is not able to be fixed all the way.
That would be interesting. They did add that in. I don't know how many updates ago where that was the thing, isn't it? Where some damage just isn't fixable, even though it doesn't take you out of the race. I want to say that was last year sometime.
Exactly. So, well, actually, Michael Mata back down to pit, so I may have been a little premature on that discussion there. We'll see what he has cooking on pit road this time. No, just a quick splash and dash. So we'll see if maybe that left side's popped out. I'll keep an eye on that here as everybody gets lined up for the restart. And the left side still looks exactly the same on the 91 car. I see the same kind of damage on the left side of the 83. So it does look like this damage has carried over to some other cars as well. Also the same on the left side of the 18 car of Jay Stinson. So 3 cars, all very similar damage, so it's very possible that's unfixable.
That's unfortunate. Hopefully it's not something that would affect him massively like something similar would be on the right side of the car where you're getting all that side force and everything from, but I don't know. I don't know if iRacing's that technical yet as a pace car dipping on down to pit road to restart after our 6th caution of the night.
Coming to the restart zone. Great jump on the inside from the teammates of Ken Redinger, Justin Parham, able to get away. Danny Sanchez is going to try and hitch along and be in 3rd place here, and it looks like he'll be able to clear Patrick Calgill as well. Outside did not get going there at all. It looks like 4 cars might be able to clear as Matthew Fritz able to get going a little bit better than Patrick Calgill there as well. They're going to stay side by side, and you can see it's really packed up everybody on back. 3 wide into turn 3. Contact with the 73 and the 67, and they're going up the track, and Steve Lewis gets thrown into the wall.
I think the only person that got I think the only person that hurt right there was Steve Lewis, and he was having a pretty quiet race this whole race up until that point. He was minding his own business there on the outside.
Steve Lewis going to fall to the rear of the field right there as he's going to try and recover from that. Looking on back up at the front, Ken Redinger still leading over Justin Parham as those guys are now single file. Patrick Calgill able to get back around Danny Sanchez for 3rd spot. And then Brandon White-Barra is going to be your 5th car in line right behind those 4. And then you can see on back is a bit of a scuffle. Cody Matthews looking to get clear of that is he's pretty much no man's land in 6th. Matthew Fritz just got passed by Matt Novella. You can see Jordan Finnegan gets in the wall a little bit there, a little further back as everybody trying to settle in. The 83 side by side with the 988. That's a pretty interesting battle on towards the back. Right now those guys going side by side drafting a little bit. But the 83 looks like he's struggling with something. His contact with the 91. 91 goes on the apron, and Mata able to save it there, so everybody's still going forward. So no caution there either. I see Steve Lewis is on pit road. Wonder if he got too much damage to the right side of the car from that wall hit.
Oh, yeah, he has a meatball.
Keep an eye on that one. Oh, it must have blew a tire. So Steve Lewis going to have a tough break right there. Going to have to come for a set of tires and get that car fixed up a little bit. You can see Patrick Calgill gets to the inside of Justin Parham now for 2nd, and he's going to be able to clear him right there. So now Ken Redinger is going to have to defend from this 31 car once again. Patrick just looks so fast when he gets up there and able to get the run just right.
Yeah, these guys racing here close, and they're kind of staying in line, but we're coming to the end of the stage here. We got 3 laps to go this time around, and there's some stage points to be had here if these guys can keep everything together. And some of these guys in the back, it looks like the field's really spread out now, mainly single file with Parham looking to the inside of Calgill. This is for 2nd place. Parham's going to get tight and wash up a little bit, but going to give Calgill the momentum on the outside to come back around Parham. White-Barra is going to get a little bit of a run to the back bumper of Parham and look to the outside, but not going to be able to do anything with it, I don't think. The outside just really isn't coming to play. It gets a little bit of a decent run, looks to the inside. But yeah, this outside just isn't having the momentum as Calgill's looking to the inside of Redinger.
Oh, I'm hearing spinning. There's a wreck.
Oh, no.
91 is around. Michael Mata backwards in the stage. The race of the stages is going to be over, but...
You know what, Joe? I'm going to leave this playing just to test it, but everyone's going to have to ignore the points because they had a caution right where I didn't need a caution at.
All right, well, this is gonna most likely be wrong, unless nobody in the top 10 pits right here. But the stage
Yeah.
point should go. Patrick Calgill, I believe, will be the winner of the stage there. Actually, I could tell you because I'd have the last lap results. So Calgill, Redinger, Parham, Wybera, Sanchez, Matthews, Novella, Fritz, Casavir, Lanat were your top 10 there. And the wreck was Michael Mata ended up backwards. Not sure what started it back there. Is now you're gonna see some guys pit, some guys stay out
This
here.
is
So
going to
that's
throw
really
the
gonna
points.
make it fun.
This is, yeah, it's going to throw the stuff off here, but I got to test it at least. So if it finished green, this is what would have happened. But that's all irrelevant since we had a caution. And at least
Steve
that
Lewis
worked.
gonna get back on the lead lap there. Yeah, that worked.
Let's go back and look at the wreck.
We'll see what caused the wreck that broke the data, though. Okay, we got the 91 there on the inside of Lawless. And
net code.
wow.
Bad net code.
Those cars were moving around a lot even before the net code, though. Like, I don't know if you can see, like, they're really, like, moving. Very unsettled.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of bobbing and weaving. That's what we saw last week at Daytona. Like these cars, there was the actual definite net code. But yeah, that's unfortunate stuff. And I do know that we had some people pit, so I also want to test one more thing while we're under caution. I want to see if this tracked why we weren't watching it. And it does look like it was, so Parham, Novella, Redinger, Sanchez were your first out of pit road, even though we weren't watching pit road, so that's working like it's supposed to.
You know, we're looking at the lap that we're on here, 62. We could be talking about trying to make it to the end from here. So that's probably why we saw guys like Parham, Novella just take fuel only, try and not use a set of tires. But in case it goes green, they are good to make it now on fuel, unlike the guys in front of them. Redinger on back, going to go a little bit more aggressive, take a set of tires right here. So we'll see which strategy is the best. Justin Parham looks like he was the first off pit road, like you said, so he's on fuel with Novella, and then everybody else I think was on 4, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll have to watch from 10th on back pretty much. So now Patrick Calgill going to take over the race lead after that. Going to be alongside Brandon Wybera on the front row, Cody Matthews, and Jonathan Casabir rounding out that top 4. Behind them, you see Kyle Lanat and Jordan Finnegan also staying out on track along with Glenn Grigsby. So those 7 stayed out. Then you got 2 with fuel only, and then everybody else on tires. So we're going to have a real jumbled up restart right here as we get ready for the pace car to pull off and get ready to start the second half of this race. We're going to have 58 laps remaining when we go green. You got Patrick Calgill as your control car for this restart. Wybera to his outside. And a great start there from Wybera. Actually going to be the first one, maybe the draw alongside the leader. But no, Calgill able to get a little bit of aero help from Cody Matthews from behind. So your leader going to be Patrick Calgill into turn 1. Cody Matthews going to take over second. Wybera going to tuck into third. Lanat fourth. And then Casabir in 5th. But then look at this 3 wide action. Ken Redinger going to the outside of Novella.
Oh, someone
and
off
the
the
62
wall
of
there.
Sanchez. Somebody off the wall. They're 3 wide again. Oh, boy.
Almost 4 wide here, I think. Go and try to squeeze it. It's not going to work.
Oh, no. Okay.
Ooh.
All right. All right, we've sorted it out. It's okay. Everybody's okay. You can see good old Patrick Calgill holding on to the lead, but he gets tight out of turn 2. To his inside goes Wybera for the race lead. He's going to try and get a run here down the back. Going to dive it down into 3. Calgill not able to defend that move. Going to see Wybera come up in front of the 31, take over the race lead. Brandon Wybera to the race lead here on lap number 65. Coming, though, is Kyle Lynott with a bunch of steam on the push from Ken Redinger. Those two just blew the doors off multiple cars to get to fourth and fifth. Now going to be third and fourth because their momentum's still going. And they're jockeying behind them, bobbing and weaving. And here comes Ken now around the outside of the 988. Those fresh tires have a huge advantage, and now he's going to cut to the inside of Patrick Algill for second place, and he's going to have a big run on Wybera into turn one. He's going to come down in front of him, but now he's going to go to the outside of Wybera. Ken Redinger on fresh tires just cut his way through from 10th to 1st in 4 laps.
Definitely an impressive run there on 4 fresh tires. And with as aggressive as this front pack is racing here, I'm surprised we're not seeing, knock on wood, the netcode problems that we've seen previously.
Oh my.
Like, it's close.
Stop it. They're so tight with each other here. You saw a couple 3-wide instances right there. I saw the 78 bounce off the wall. I also saw, looked like Sanchez got a little close with Novella for a second. Now you can see Parham and Cody Matthews a little close, but they're able to sort it out. But Ken Redinger getting away because right now he's the one that got through on the freshies.
Yeah, these other cars is sitting here that might have fresh tires with them don't have the...
Parham! Parham tried to sneak to the inside of Matthews, got him a little bit tight, it looked like. Now Parham to the inside of that 10 car. It looks like Lynott going to get around Brandon Wybera for third, and now going to try and close in on Cowgill for second. On back, I see Jay Stinson pushing with Matt Novella trying to get a run on the outside right there. Novella now maybe thinking 3 wide, potentially right here. It is going to be 3 wide into turn one. Cody Matthews, they're all making contact.
A little bit of bumper cars right there.
There's still 3. Novella's not going to be very happy with what just happened right there, and he's all over the 10, and now almost wrecks back into Jay Stinson because of it. Everybody able to stay straight, though. Novella, though, clearly was unhappy with Cody Matthews right there. I don't think he saw the full story, though. I feel like everybody didn't know they were 3 wide right there.
Definitely seemed like some people thought that they might have just been 2 wide. Other people might have knew they were 3 wide. And whenever everyone's trying to get to the same spot on the track, it usually don't work out that or as pleasantly as we would hope, as they're still just stacked up nose to bumper here behind Redinger and Cowgill. With all this stuff happening behind them, these top 3 cars. I'll include Lynott into that. Being able to get out of the ruckus. Wybera's been able to get out of the ruckus. Now everyone behind him, they're just struggling and fighting. 91 massively off pace.
Yeah, he just went a lap down right there. Going to fall back through the field. And you know what I'm looking at? I'm seeing the 56 car coming up on Cody Matthews once again. So those two are about to be close to each other. We'll see if anything they're going to go. Oh, Novella going to get bumped from Lullis now. So he's going to have to recover again as he's now back alongside. It looks like that's Dalton Geyer back there. So those two now going to have some work cut out to make up. Here comes the 62 of Danny Sanchez. Going to go 3 wide with the 19 and the 73. Looks like Danny going to try and use the inside, but that outside line moving. Parham got a good run there, going to try and stay side by side. Almost contact, 3 wide still. Now with Hillman, Quesabir, and Stinson. Man, that's just crazy racing here in the middle of the field.
It almost reminds me of the ARCA car and how that races as Parham gets tied up into Wybera.
Oh, they're wrecking! Here we go, the 18, the 3, the 73, there's a T-bone. It's all happened. They're wrecking everywhere. The 3 car immediately tows Zach Hillman straight to pit road. It looked like he hit the inside wall as hard as Jeff Gordon did in 2008. So I would assume that that's probably the end of his race. Looks like...
Let's see here.
Looks like some wild 3 wide racing
here.
Let's see what happened.
I saw Parham get tied up into Wybera, and then everything kind of exploded behind them between Quesabir, A little bit of net
Oh
code
yeah.
there up into Stinson.
I think that's just another case of guys not knowing they were 3 wide. Not sure if, like you said, there may have been some netcode involved in that one there as well. The front end of the 10 car completely ripped off, and there's Dalton Geyer. Almost was able to avoid the T-bone, but not fully. Uh, okay, well, if the front end came back on the 10 car, looks
I
like I
don't
see
know
the
what it's doing.
73 with a lot of damage to go around.
There's
That
a
was,
handful of meatballs in the field too. Geyer, Mata,
oh yeah.
Matthews, Hillman. We saw him restart after the stage there in the lead, and he got caught up in that, got himself a meatball.
It's absolutely
Definitely
insane right there.
some attrition. And this is one of the things that I was afraid of going into this race. Is we saw a lot of these same issues last week at Daytona, and I was kind of hoping that maybe it was just the car track combo, but I'm thinking that it's probably an issue with the car as much as I don't want it to be an issue with the car, because I absolutely love the Gen 6 car, even though it's been forever since I raced it. Since the Gen 6 is no more, this might just be the everyday norm for this car, because I really don't see iRacing putting a lot of time in to try to do stuff with this car since it's kind of retired.
Yeah, I just went back and looked at it as well. There was a lot of netcode between the 73 of Casabir and then Hillman in the 3 to his inside, and even to Stinson and to his outside. None of those cars ever made true contact with each other in that wreck, but the netcode just made it look like Casabir was ping-ponging between them and created probably two of the hardest hits that I've seen in the car to this point. Zach Hillman hit that inside wall at the pace and angle that we saw Jeff Gordon hit the wall in real life many years ago, and we also saw Casabir get a big part of that inside wall as well. I would assume that the 3 cars probably pretty much toast down there on pit road. So, but we did see Kevin Kyle able to roll it back out there with all that damage after a while.
We got about almost 20 people watching, so I'm going to ask a question to chat and see what they, or ask a question to the viewers and see what their opinion is in chat. And my question is, how many more cautions do you think we're going to see before the end? That's my question. Let's see who gets closer. I can't make a poll for it because I don't have enough choices.
Oh, sure you do. You could do 0, 1, 2, or 3+. I think the unanimous would be 3+.
Yeah.
We're only on lap 76 here. We're gonna still have a lot of laps left when we go back racing. Gonna have 44 to go. Ken Redinger back to the race lead after everything's said and done here. He's gonna have Lullis to his inside and Sanchez to his outside. As we get going here, great jump again from Ken Redinger, and it looks like Danny Sanchez may be able to pull down in front of his teammates. No, he's not going to be able to get it done. Wybera going to give a push to Lullis into turn number 1. See Kyle Lynott pushing Patrick Calgill up to Danny Sanchez there. They're going to fall backwards on the outside, now go 3 wide throughout the back of the field here. Matt Novella making up a lot of spots.
Oh,
no. And
no.
Matt Novella up across the 62's nose, and they're wrecking. There's T-bones. This 62's doing donuts after hitting the inside wall, spinning like a helicopter. Huge hits all around once again. And it looked like it was another scenario of guys being 3 wide and maybe not knowing about it.
So, Forerunner in chat said before that restart that he thinks we're on track for at least 11 cautions, and we can safely say that we're one more closer to that now. Let's go back and see what happened. I think it's going to be a 3 wide
I don't think this
issue
was
here.
Yeah, this wasn't netcode. I think this was misjudgment of where they were.
Calgill trying to sneak out the outside or up the outside. everyone's steady, and then yeah, it looks like Novella just came up a little bit. Maybe I don't really like to try to call people out or anything, but I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to tell. And
This is
the
a
camera,
tough one. It does.
like I don't know. I really don't want to put that on netcode, but I also don't want to say maybe the car drifted, because we saw that a lot during Daytona too, where the car was drifting back and
Watch this.
forth.
You went away from it. We were about to. You're about to see the helicopter.
Oh, hold on. I'll go back. We'll watch the helicopter. Do I need to watch it in full speed?
Yeah, let's see that. That's good. That's good. Let's get
Full speed.
some
Do we
full
stay
speed
on him
action
like
going right
this?
here. Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's a lot of donuts right there. Pretty hard hit into the inside wall for the rear end of Danny Sanchez's car. We'll have to see how much damage is on that car. A lot of cars down pit road. Michael Mata coming back down to get more damage repaired. It looks like he got the lucky dog right there. Danny Sanchez getting damage repaired. See Dalton Geyer down there. Zach Hillman still trying to piece his front clip back onto his car. Steve Lewis down there getting some damage. He's back on the lead lap. See Cody Matthews down there. Matt Novella down there getting damage fixed. Along with, looks like Patrick Calgill maybe getting something fixed as well. Interesting. And you see Casabir down there as well. So a lot of guys pitting right there. Looks like Glenn Grigsby out of the pits already, coming back around. He's currently in 9th. And then the top 8 stay out. And I want to shout out a couple guys up front right here that have been doing a good job of being just quiet warriors to the front. And up there in 8th spot, you could see Jordan Finnegan up there. I haven't really, said his name a lot today. We haven't really seen him in a lot of anything, but he's been very quiet. And in the race like we're having so far today, that is the exact thing you want to have happen. In the middle of the storm, and he's had a very quiet day, just staying out of everybody else's stuff, and now worked his way into the top 10. Car looks perfectly clean, and he's in a good position to have a good race. And then right in front of him, Matthew Fritz. We haven't really called his name a lot either. He's just been sticking around up there towards the front. That car looks very clean as well up there in 6th. So those 2 cars are the 2 cars I'm looking at to be very, very clean, especially currently on the incident point count probably, as well as with their cars being up to full strength. Because you can see a couple cars up in front of them with some scrapes and bruises on them.
Yeah. So Forerunner in chat said he's changed his number to 15. And while I don't think he's wrong, we're running out of cars to cause cautions.
We're never going to... Well, I mean, we're also running out of laps, too. You never know. 40 to go this time around when we go back racing. Ken Redinger with control for this restart. He gets away very good this time. Brandon Lawless, not a good jump on the outside. Gets a big push from Justin Parham, but Ken Redinger gets multiple car links on the rest of the field. Now you got Lawless able to get up to speed after the push from Parham. You can see Kyle Anott sneaking to the inside right there, going to give a potential push here down the back to the 04 of Wybera. It sounded like those two may have not been friends earlier in the race across the radio. We'll see if they are able to work together right here. And it looks like they are for that corner. Wybera gets a good push, and now going to try and get a push potentially from Parham right here to the inside of Ken. Huge run for the 04. Wybera to the race lead, and he's going to be able to clear him.
Super strong run down the front stretch. Parham's going to be able to just follow him right through. Redinger kind of falling back here. I wonder, surely, like we know Redinger as a long run guy, so surely he hasn't hurt his tires or anything with the substantial lead that he had leading up to that caution before the last one. So I don't know, maybe Redinger's hurting a little bit for tires here as Parham goes to the race lead around the inside of Wybera, and we're seeing that inside come back to play as you see Wybera get all the way down on that white line to the apron to try to get any little bit of advantage down the backstretch. gets a huge, massive run to the entry of 3 and able to take back over the race lead from Parham. I think these guys might be trading it back as Kyle Lynott going to the inside of Redinger to take over 3rd place. We're seeing something that we haven't really seen a whole lot out of Redinger, and he's kind of moving in the wrong direction after this restart. Not really sure what happened to him.
Struggling for certain compared to the guys around him. Saw some shuffling for the lead there, back and forth though, and it's now ended up in Wybera's favor for right now. But you can see Parham trying to set up the same move back, but Ken Redinger's found his groove again. Here he comes, closing in on the back bumper of the 19, and he's bringing Kyle Lynott along with him. Behind them, you got Jay Stinson and Patrick Calgill side by side, and then you see Jonathan Casabir on back, also battling for position. But here comes Parham around the outside of Wybera with the help of Ken Redinger. Those two hook up, and now going to end up being 1-2 down into turn 3. Parham going to be able to clear without problem. Going to get down in front of that 04. Ken Redinger stuck side by side. Wall contact for the cars behind, but now Justin Parham back to the race lead after the help from his teammate of Ken Redinger. Ken now trying to find a way though around the 04. Look at this, Buddy's going to try and do that up and under again.
He's late apexing that corner and I think he's trying to use the gravity of the banking of the corner to try to speed up that car to get using that white line to rotate it on entry to not.
Oh, contact!
To not really get the car tight on exit. It seems to be working for him though on that end of the track, but I think Parham flashed out, yeah. Parham is blinking, and we've seen him have that problem last week, so that's not good for Parham. Hopefully his internet can stay stable as he looks to the inside of Wybera. He's going to take that inside away from Wybera, so he's not going to be able to do the late apex, run down the banking of the corner, but he might be able to set up that type of a run here into 1. I think Parham's going to have that inside block. Then fighting back and forth, he's brought Lynott up to their back bumpers. So dealing with lap traffic here as we see the 91 of Casabir on the inside. Not Casabir, who's 91? Michael Mata.
Michael Mata, getting close with them. Then they're still side by side for the race lead there, Buddy. So we see Wybera looks like he might actually get a little bit of arrow push there from the 988 from behind. Lynott gonna actually lose a lot of speed there, maybe got in dirty air, and now side by side with Redinger for 3rd. So now we're 2 by 2 here at the front of the field. Wybera trying to use the outside on Parham to hold on to that race lead. These guys going real hard here, coming to 31 to go in the race. And man, it looks like Wybera may get the run this time to clear. Here comes Lynott up the inside.
Lynott's going to have the run into 1 to the outside of Parham. One of the things that I noticed from Redinger is whenever he's running that outside, like the center of the corner off, he just gets really, really tight on exit, and I think that's hurting him. He's able to make up some ground a little bit, running the bottom, but he just gets tight and pushes up the track. Where guys like Wybera and Parham and Lynott, they're not necessarily having that same trouble as Calgill. They were 3 wide there for a second.
Casabir was able to take it middle, got 2 spots out of it.
Oh, Parham
in the wall. Looks like there may have been some wall contact ahead. Yep, Parham in the outside wall. Not sure what happened there. Gonna have to go back and look at it. But that's gonna bring Wybera back to the lead, and now Lynott gonna try and make a move around the outside. Here we go. He's got the momentum. Wybera off the pace on the bottom, and Kyle Lynott looks like he's gonna clear for the race lead right there with 29 laps left. Kyle Lynott takes over the lead for the first time tonight.
Redinger trying to follow him right through to the outside of Wybera, and that inside line isn't working to Wybera's advantage like it had been. Now I can talk about Casabir because he's to the outside of, almost to the outside of Wybera, trying to follow Parham right through. Casabir just kind of lurking there, running in the middle of the field. As we see Matthew Fritz moving his way up to the tail end of Redinger, which is one of the guys you were talking about earlier under that 1 caution. Super clean race. Finnegan still super clean race, just kind of running his own thing there. And we have finally made it to inside of 30 to go. So I don't know. Either I still don't think we're done with the cautions, though. I think we still got some right here. Net code. Don't. Oh, my God.
What a save.
Stinson almost got a windshield full of the tail end of Justin Parham. It was so
going
close.
wrong for Justin. Yeah, Justin having a couple really bad laps here. He got to the outside of Wybera for the race lead, and they ended up making contact. It threw Parham into the wall, put him back in that situation there with Stinson and the rest of them right there. That now has pushed Parham to the rear of the field due to some more netcode that happened for him right there. So now you got Lynott still leading the race, but Matthew Fritz is now the one challenging him. We were just talking about how he was having a nice quiet race. He's about to be leading this thing if he can make this pass.
I think he's going to have the advantage here going into 2 or 3. Kind of got Lynott pushed up the track a little bit. We really haven't seen, like we've seen the outside work for some guys as Lynott makes the outside work off of 3, but I don't know how well the outside is working in 1 and 2. Seems like the outside is the place to be in 3 and 4, and you get that extra little bump off of for the front stretch, but the inside seems to work in 1 and 2 for the most part.
Here we go. Wybera is going to try and dive it down low. Looks like he's going to get tight though, and everybody going to end up single file. On back, I see 3 wide action for a second. They're going to sort it out though. Back there, battle for that looks like the battle for 7. Looks like they sorted that out. So Lynott still leading here over Wybera. Going to cut down across his nose. Very close for the race lead, but able to hold on to it. Wybera trying to find a run. He's got Fritz behind him, and then you see Redinger and Casebeer round out this lead group. So you got 5 cars that have pulled away from the rest of the field, trying to figure out how to best use the momentum to their advantage. Right now, Kyle Lynott leading the field, trying to figure out how to throw the dirty air onto the bumpers of everybody behind him, how to keep that momentum stalled. And now you can see he pushes up the track a little bit there and actually uses the momentum of that middle lane. And now it's left Wybera in a vulnerable position as Fritz goes to his inside.
Now Lynott's just loving to see Lynott's loving to see this in his mirror because he's not having to deal with any of it. Just kind of run your race, have your clean air all to yourself. Wybera's able to break away from that mess. Fritz is Wybera's having to deal with Redinger gives Wybera a little bit of
Michael Mata right there, lap car. I think they came up on him and they weren't expecting it. I don't know what happened right there. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that from Mata's perspective. Yeah, Mata.
Here, let me try this side by side if you're looking at it. Are you ready?
Hold on. Let's...
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Let's just try it all tonight. Ready?
All right. Yeah. So here we go. You got Michael Mata. He's just chilling. He's just chilling. He's going, a little slow because of the damage. And here comes Kyle Lynott. And here comes Brandon Wybera. And there's Ken Redinger. And they all pretty much stack up right there. Everybody able to stay clean. It did sound like there were some hard feelings across the radio. Not sure if that was directed at Mata or Wybera for the lane shift. We'll have to wait and see later on in the race because back up front under live action, you can see the race lead battle back on, and Redinger all over the back of the 04 right there.
Yeah, Casebeer looking to the inside of Redinger, but not really going to be able to do anything with it. I think we saw Redinger ride up onto basically eating the back bumper of Wybera there for a little bit, and I don't know if that threw off his line a little bit and caused him to check up.
Right there, that was really aggressive from Redinger. I think I have a feeling maybe his comments across the radio may have been towards him. Those two getting a little rowdy with each other right there. See, Danny Sanchez looks like he just came down pit road. Some sort of issue with the 62 car, unfortunately, goes a lap down right here. Looks like they're taking tires, maybe had to pit for fuel and everything else. But here we go. The 42 gets to the outside there of Wybera, but no run center off. Wybera able to clear back. He thinks, and now he's going to really clear. They're making a lot of contact down into turn 3. Quesabir to the inside. You got Fritz right there. And once again, Kyle Lanat is just saying, just keep doing what you're doing and let me be.
So I posted a poll that asked the viewers if we were going to see a green-white checker this race, considering the history that we've had. And so far, 100% of the votes said yes. So what do you think, Joe? Are we going to have a green-white checkered?
I wish we were in a car that we race a lot, because I could hit you with Larry Mack's trends of the race say that 95% of the time we're going to have a green-white checkered. But in this case, I honestly think we're going to have a caution before this thing's over. Is it going to be for a green-white checkered? Most likely. I'd say I'll give you a 9 out of 10 on the odds on that one. I'd say 90% chance that it's going to be a green-white checkered caution here at the end. With the runs these guys are getting, the aggressiveness up front, even though it's only a 5-car pack up here, you can see the runs that everybody's able to build. It's just they're battling each other, so they're not getting the run for the race lead. And eventually somebody's going to get too impatient. There's going to be an aggressive move made where they go 3 wide, and then I feel like the inevitable netcode happens. And it could be right here, because Quesabir was peaking 3. Redinger does get to the inside of Wybera down the backstretch, and they're going to go side by side into turn 3. We'll see if Redinger is able to hold the bottom, or if Wybera is going to get that run back, as Ken does get a little bit tight, and Wybera with the momentum going to get back around his outside. Quesabir now going to peek around the outside of Redinger as well. And they're just falling off from Lanat. They're giving him an advantage right here of just about half a second as they continually trade the second spot.
I was trading back and forth. Looked like Wybera got the wall a little bit, bounced off the wall. Didn't really see any smoke or sparks or anything. We're seeing enough of that in the corners, but...
Oh! He got the wall really good that time. He's a little bit slow down the front stretch. Quesabir going to give him a push into 1. You see Redinger now going to try and go around the outside. He's going to go all the way up the track. You can see Wybera very loose on the bottom. Looks like he's going to fall backwards. They're 3 wide, but Wybera struggling. Allows Ken Redinger to get through to second. Fritz moves his way to 3rd. Quesabir to 4th. And now you got Wybera trying to get his car gathered back up. He's going to hold on to the group barely in 5th. And now it's back to working to catch up to Lanat. Lanat with a half-second lead. But now these guys back single file. So as long as they got that, look at that. What a corner from Redinger. Great mid-corner speed right there. Able to get a good run off. Now the draft down the backstretch closes in multiple car lengths here just in this one set of corners.
Redinger's pulling up to Lanat. Quesabir's pulling up to Redinger. Fritz is kind of in tow there. I don't think they're going to have it. As long as they stay single file like this, they'll be right up to Lanat's back bumper in no time. But as we see Quesabir looking to the inside, if they get stuck 2 by 2 and just start swapping positions again, this is exactly what Lanat wants to see as we're getting ready to be coming around to 10 laps to go. And the more that they do this, and it's just going to benefit Lanat because it's going to slow both of them down. It's going to bring the Wybera and Fritz back up to them. And I don't know if we're close enough to the end of this to be 2 by 2 yet. From a strategic standpoint, at least. Because you're not going to catch Lanat running a 2 by 2 like that.
Yes, but have you considered going 3 wide to try and catch up? Because it looked like they were thinking about it right there. Fritz, I don't know if Fritz is deciding if he wants to try and push somebody or try and pass both of them at the same time right there. He's now to the outside of Case of Beer. Just a little housekeeping right now. Those front 5, they are 5 seconds clear now of the second pack of cars led by Grigsby. That includes Finnegan, Stinson, and the lap car of Cody Matthews back there as well. So we do have a couple
These,
separate packs. That is the second one.
looks like
That's a
these
little
guys
further
back
back.
here are kind of racing their hearts out too. Finnegan on the outside, Grigsby side by side. So if we're going to get a caution, it could really come from either of these groups. It looks like Case of Beer was able to get around Redinger, so they sorted out that difference. Fritz using that late apex that Wybera was using earlier in the race. Now that they're single file, Case of Beer and Redinger and all these guys, they're going to be right up to Lynott until they start going 2 by 2 again, as we see Fritz and Redinger kind of doing exactly that.
Yeah, they're side by side. Fritz using the really high line there in 3 and 4 and able to get some good momentum as he's trying to get around Ken for third. Right now, Casabir came up just short of winning the opener at Daytona. Sitting in second place here, once again, coming to 6 to go. Kyle Lynott leads, though he's led pretty much this whole last run as the boys behind him have been battling so hard to get to be the first guy to try and battle Lynott. Looks like they may have it sorted out for now. You can see Casabir trying to close in on the back bumper of that 988 Ford. Right now, gets a good run down into 1 and 2. Gets pretty close right there, but not able to get anything done yet. Lynott trying to just use the air to his advantage right now and keep the dirty air on the nose of the 73. You can see Fritz, though, here he comes. He's got that outside line hooking right now, trying to get some momentum. The 988 hits the wall a little bit, going to lose momentum. Here comes Casabir, going to try and set up a run into turn 1 right here. Here we go. Lynott going to use the high line. Casabir to the bottom. We're going to see which lane prevails. They're going to get really close. No contact. But the 73 does get a little bit loose to try and stay off Lynott right there. They're going to settle back into line. No harm, no foul right there. But, oh boy, Casabir may have seen the keys to victory right there.
Oh, yeah. He had to really, he got loose and had to come off of the throttle, I think. Or it was wiping Lynott out. And he chose the more calm and collected route of not doing that, and that really gave Lynott a pretty decent advantage. But Casabir's not done. He's closing that gap up a little bit. They're only 0.3 of a second separated here with 3 to go at the line.
Yeah, I think Casabir saw how he had to get it done. He has to get close enough, try and force Lynott to make that mistake, and then you got to take the run. And if he does that on the last lap, I would expect the 73 to not lift. Here comes Wybera. Looks like he got his tires cooled off there, Buddy. He's going to try and get to the inside of Fritz. Not able to get it done, though. They're going to settle back into a single file line. Here comes Casabir, though, going to try and maybe go for the up and under move. But it's opened up the door for Fritz as he tries to sneak underneath Casabir. Into the wall goes Casabir. It's going to lose a lot of momentum right there, as that's going to really help out Lynott again. 2 to go in this race. And man, here comes Wybera with a huge run up the inside, trying to get third. He's got one last chance to really set something up. Got to get around Fritz right here. It looks like they're going to get stuck side by side as Kyle Lynott continues to lead down into turn 3. We're going down into 3 and 4. Everybody's still going in the forward direction, so it looks like we're going to take the white flag here under green as Casabir hits the wall hard again. And the white flag is out. 1 lap left to go. Kyle Lynott with the race lead over Casabir, who's off the pace after hitting the wall. Fritz going to try and use the outside to get something going, but it's allowing Kyle Lynott to get away. He's got half a second lead as we come down the backstretch for the final time into turn number 3. Lynott's got 2 corners left to navigate in order to secure this victory. Here he comes out of turn number 4, and Kyle Lynott is going to get the win here today at Las Vegas. Race number 2 goes to Kyle Lynott over Matthew Fritz, Wybera in a photo finish over Quesabir for third.
That was a really fun ending to the race. Quesabir really laid it all out on the line. We saw him come up a little bit short last week at Daytona, and this week he just barely gets squeaked out of the podium in third. So that's 2 weeks in a row that he's been barely squeezed out of something.
Man, we saw, Quesabir was so close 2 weeks in a row to getting that win. Not able to finish it off, but still a really good points day from him. But Kyle Lynott was able to do a good job of controlling the lines there at the end, and really just took advantage of the guys really battling with each other hard right there. So great job by Kyle Lynott, able to control the race to the finish and pick up the dub. He's been waiting a long time to get a dub in this Wednesday series. I don't think he was able to pick one up last season in trucks. I had to wait until we switched to the Cup cars, and wins here at Las Vegas. What a performance from Kyle Lynott, the texting and driving genius behind the wheel.
Maybe that's the key to all success. I don't promote it, but whenever you're on iRacing, maybe that's how you win, because I sure can't win anymore.
Kyle Lynott, man, what a day. He was up and down all day. Ended up in a couple of wrecks early. We saw him spun out in the grass and everything early on in the race. Had to work his way back through the field. Had some scuffles with some other drivers, but ended up with the race win in the end. Great performance from him. Looking at the other guys that finished up towards the front there, Matthew Fritz was so quiet for most of the race, but made it count when it mattered there, able to get a P2 out of it. Wybera ends up in third behind them. Wybera, we saw him lead a lot of laps. Wasn't able to finish it off there at the end. Jonathan Quesabir made another charge for the race win. Just pushed a little bit too hard there. Ends up in fourth. Ken Redinger, his tires must have fallen off there at the end, as he was the dominant car in the first half of the race. He'll end up P5. Then you had the second group of cars a little further back. Glenn Grigsby able to win that battle for P6 over Jordan Finnegan. Those two having two very impressive days right there, as they will finish in front of Jay Stinson, who ended up back there in that group after all that chaos following that restart. Justin Parham wasn't able to get a reset to get back up to the front. He'll end up in P9. 10th place will go to Brandon Lawless in a photo finish over Steve Lewis. So great battle there for the top 10 between the two of them. And then P12, last car on the lead lap, will be Patrick Cowgill. And then everybody else on back also with some issues. We saw Novella caught up in a few wrecks. He ends up 13th, 1 lap down. Danny Sanchez had a pit with about 20 to go. He ended up 14th, 2 down. Michael Mata limped that car to the finish line, ends up 15th place, 5 laps down. You see Cody Matthews in 16th. He finished 13 laps down. He had a lot of damage to get fixed there. Dalton Geyer with a lot of damage ends up 17th place. Zach Hillman ended up DNFing after that last wreck where he flew into the inside wall very hard. He'll end up 18th. Graham McGivern was out of the race pretty early, I think with similar damage from hitting the inside wall, along with Mark Zabak as well. And then Kevin Kyle was caught up in the first real large incident of the race that took him out. That was the 21 car field for tonight's race. Buddy, what do you see out there?
A whole bunch of net code. And as unfortunate as it is, I think that might be a common occurrence week after week as we follow this series. We're 2 races for 2 with the same exact issues, so I would not be surprised to see much of the same next week.
That is definitely a concern for all of us, is what's going to happen with the netcode. But you know what? We did see some great racing from a lot of the guys up front, and I think now is a good time. Which way you want to go, buddy? You want to go 1, 2, 3 or 3, 2, 1?
Let's go 3, 2, 1.
All right, so we're going to pull third place up into the booth per Buddy the Professor's request, and that was Brandon Wybera here tonight. So we now have Brandon up here in the booth with us. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, guys. Got you loud and clear.
Great. Well, we saw you have a really good fast car there tonight. You're up there towards the front at the end, leading a lot of laps there in that last run. But it looked like maybe the tires got a little bit too hot there for a couple laps. Did you just get overheated on the tires on the rears? Is that what happened, or was it just something to do with aero?
Yeah, it was probably a little bit of both there for like 10, 15 laps or so. I could definitely feel the tires going away. Rears definitely got hot, so I just kind of backed out right there. I got in the wall there, so I was like, I'm just going to back out, try to cool them down, and make a run there at the end. Got a little bit there for a little bit. I think I made up 2 spots right there and finished third. But yeah, it was just a lot of aero and just trying to stay out of people's way with this net code stuff.
Yeah, we saw you guys were really struggling with the net code again there today. It looked like it was another just common occurrence. How much did that really change the way that you went into the mindset of driving around people, especially when you saw how big the runs were based on the way cars were coming off the corners?
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, it's this car sucks to drive right now. I mean, it's not fun because you don't know what's going to happen going in the corner and coming off. You know you can race a lot of these guys tight because they're not going to wreck you, and then you end up pissed off at each other because net code gets you, and you don't know if it's net code right away, and then you got to go back and look and apologize. So it's just not fun right now. We're just trying to get away with it and just kind of hope you're okay at driving in. But like I said, it's just kind of get through the season and move on to something else.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely feels like there's a lot of that going on where there's just a lot of incidents happening where it's cars that are, pretty separated from each other. And it's stuff that, we didn't see last season per se in the trucks where we were able to race a lot closer to each other, be able to side draft without the concern of that kind of stuff. Um, you're able to lead a lot of laps. Is there anything that from tonight with the Cup car that really, in this specific Gen 6 Cup car, that you could take to like the ARCA series on Mondays?
I mean, yeah, a little. I mean, not really. I mean, this obviously a totally custom setup. Usually the stock stuff you can probably get away with and learn a little bit with it. But as far as horsepower and stuff, these beat the tires off of it and kind of a little bit harder to drive with aero. I just feel like the ARCA car is kind of a meatball, just kind of just stay in the gas, keep the momentum up and stuff. So to me, honestly, it's not the same. But if it works for the others, go ahead.
Then there was actually one specific question I had to the setup for tonight. The cars were bottoming out, it seemed like every corner for every lap of the race, and all we saw was sparks flying up everywhere in every corner. Did you see a lot of that on your screen? And how, if you did, how off-putting was it?
Yeah, you definitely see it because I know I have my graphics turned up. So yeah, I'm seeing every spark, and in the mirror, it's going crazy. Looks like fireworks going off. It's bouncing off the front windshield. It could definitely play a little factor if you're not ready for it. But it's cool to see just because that's real live kind of stuff. But that kind of much bottoming out, that's probably too much.
Yeah, we saw a lot of it on the broadcast, and that's exactly how Buddy actually described it. It looked like a whole bunch of fireworks going on the first time we went down into turn 3. It's like, oh my goodness, and then
Yeah.
everybody started getting a little bit loose. It's like, okay, what we got going on here? I'm gonna turn things over to Buddy see if he's got any more questions for you.
I think you kind of covered all my questions. I was curious about the bottoming out and what that was doing to the handling and everything. And just like last week, we saw a lot of incidents that happened from just netcode problems. So it is nice to know that it's just not us imagining it happening on the broadcast or whatever. And it's unfortunate that you guys are having to deal with issues like that.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think it's making us more enemies as race car drivers out here because I know we can race really good and tie. I've seen it before in all these series that we've run. I feel kind of bad because I'm yelling at people and they're yelling at me, and it's just one of them things, I guess.
The Gen 6 car used to be one of my
Yeah.
favorite cars back in the day, and it's unfortunate to see it be in this kind of a state. Uh, so, what going into next week, knowing what we've seen last week and now this week with that stuff, do you think that now that everyone knows that it's an issue that people need to be a little bit more cautious, maybe? Or do you think people's not really going to uh, care? I guess I don't really have a good way to say it other than that.
Yeah, we was talking earlier with the backpack racing team. Like we didn't know the strategy, what to do, and we honestly thought about just running it like a Talladega or Super Speedway and just hang out in the rear because we didn't have a fast repair. So just let everyone wreck and then be there in the end.
Right.
And that's kind of how I feel like it's going to have to work. I mean, but if everyone runs that game, then it's going to be a shootout in the end. But
Right.
like I say, it's just going to have to take caution and know who you really can race around and hopefully a net code don't bite you.
All right. Well, Joe, yeah, that's all I had. That answered everything, and we'll look forward to seeing how next week goes.
Yeah,
All right,
sounds good.
Brandon.
Appreciate y'all guys.
Well, before we let you go, we want to give you the opportunity to shout anybody out on the broadcast. So, any shout outs you want to do, floor is
Oh
all
yeah,
yours.
just thank Backpack Racing. Them guys helped me out a lot. Victory Vision on the hood, Ford Power, the Boomer Sooners on the side. Represent our state of Oklahoma. Just have a lot of fun out here. We enjoy doing it. I appreciate you guys always putting in or making an effort to make it a live broadcast. It's always fun to go back and watch these things and make sure that we're all doing the right thing. So appreciate y'all.
We appreciate you. Good performance there tonight. Nice P3. Uh, great job. Great to see you back out there, and hope to see more of you as the season goes on.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. See y'all.
It's your third place finisher there tonight, Brandon White-Bear. A great performance from him, able to get that thing back up into third. That brings us to our second place finisher tonight. That was Matthew Fritz, the man, the myth, the legend. He was just hanging around there right around fifth, sixth place all night, and then got his way up into that battle at the end. Matthew, you got a copy with us.
Yes, sir.
Man, like I was saying, you were just hanging around there. You had a great job just staying out of everybody's nonsense going on there at the front. It seemed like you were one of the only clean cars there at the end that stayed out of pretty much all the nonsense. And just walk us through those last couple laps, trying to set up those moves and moving up to that high line and finding something.
Yeah, it was crazy enough. I was trying to miss the wrecks. I got lucky. Jay said I have the golden horseshoe. You know where that is. But sometimes it works out. No, but yeah, I found the high side at the end. It was at the bottom, and it was working until my tire decided to. My computer might be crashing. Oh God.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
No, you're good. No, you're good. You're good. We're good.
Jeez. Was on older tires, and I think Ybarra was. I'm not sure, but in many cases, we had a heck of a battle, and then I got them, and then I don't know. I think Clean Air was king, but I was just happy to get second after that. I would say a crazy race.
Yeah, definitely was a really crazy race we saw pretty much all night. You really had like the Matt Kenseth kind of like feel to the race where you just were kind of hanging around in like sixth place or so, just waiting around, waiting for your time to really strike there at the end. Was that your strategy going into the race, or did you see like how the race started playing out in the beginning and decide to maybe like, hey, you know what? Maybe it's best if I just like hang around with the lead guys and wait to the end to do something.
Was my strategy. I'm not, I'm on grandstand. I'm the fastest out of Kenneth and Justin and Jay. So I just, I don't know. My favorite driver is Alex Bowman. So you just call me that Alex Bowman. We'll be there if nobody else is there. But yeah. Strategy. I hanged in the back. I was saving my tires because the tires was cold. If you went wide open, you were shredding them. And I was just trying to make sure that I had a right rear still in the car because it was going at the end. So
Yeah, it definitely seemed like tire wear was pretty big. I'm gonna kick it over to Buddy. I'm sure he's got a couple good questions for you too.
Congratulations on second place finish tonight at Las Vegas. How does it feel to successfully just barely knock Case of Beer off of a podium again? Like last week, he got a podium, but he just barely got knocked off of the win by Redinger. This week, you kind of just barely knocked him off the podium for third.
It was a good battle. He hit the wall in front of me. I was coming 2 to go, and I think it wouldn't drive for him. But yeah, but last week was the worst race of my life. I was in every wreck at Daytona, and I never had a 24X in my life, and I did. And I am so happy to be gone from that track and to get a top 2 with 24X. We'll take that and take that any day.
Do you have any concerns with this car and the netcode problems going forward? Like, I know last week and this week both, it was kind of an issue. So, as a driver, how do you approach that?
I think myself as one of the aggressive drivers. I don't side draft as much. I get aggressive when I need to, but the side drafts, we gotta calm down a little bit. Last week was way worse. I didn't get to see the netcode, but we just gotta chill a little bit. We just gotta take it easy with each other. We all know that the car is a little bit handful, and the netcode problems. We just gotta chill out because
Right.
having that many cautions, we shouldn't have. But people race how they, or like to race.
Well, Joe, I think that's all I have. And again, congratulations, Matt. I've raced around you in a few different series, and you are kind of one of those don't really make a lot of noise or cause issues. You just kind of run your races, and it definitely paid off tonight for you with being able to stay out of all the trouble.
Whenever I came by, I'll race hard, but just trying to have some fun, get away from the real life. Just have some fun.
So,
All right, Matt. Before we let
Go
you
ahead.
go, you got anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I gotta thank my mom and dad, my grandmother for watching. My mom's setting business on the car. She had a good job. Took the junior paint scheme and made it so it looks great. Thank you guys for broadcasting. It's awesome to go back and watch them.
We appreciate having you in the booth. We also appreciate your family watching the broadcast as well. Love having the people tune in and see you guys perform so well. Matt, I know we're gonna have you up here more this season. I'm sure you're gonna get that victory into victory lane this season. Good luck as the season moves forward. Before I let you go, any thoughts about Phoenix next week? You think maybe next week could be the week?
I do like Phoenix. It could be. I like short tracks. I mean, it's not really a short track. I don't know. It kind of is. It kind of doesn't. But I like it a lot. So I'll help my team out as much as I can.
There you go. Matthew Fritz, second place finisher here tonight. We'll see what he's got in store for us next week when we head to Phoenix. Sounded like he had a great performance there, Buddy. I was just able to keep that car very clean. Great race from him tonight. Great to see him run so well there at the end. Almost got the win, but the guy that did was Kyle Lynott, the man that has been perceived to be trash, apparently, according to the chat out there. Do you have a copy out there with this, Kyle?
Yeah, the trash is here.
All right, so Kyle, you had a wild race there. We saw you. It looks like you got spun there early on in the race. You were doing some donuts in the grass. You were texting and driving. It sounded like at one point allegedly texting and driving in the race, right?
Allegedly.
And then there was some interesting stuff going on in the chat, and it looks like we got a new nickname for you going on in there. It looks like there's some interesting responses on there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm all here for the fun, and I figured, why not play it up a little bit and have some fun with it? And my new best friend over there, Mr. Wybera, is giving me nicknames and just letting me know how things are. So, Trash Man, Garbage Man, whatever you want to call me. Either way, it sounds great from Victory Lane.
Yeah, we saw going on behind you, actually. There was a lot of battling in those last 15 to 20 laps right behind you for the race, pretty much. Second place there, we saw Ken and Wybera battling for a little bit, and then we saw Sabir battling with Wybera, and then we saw Fritz battling with with Ken, Quesabir, and Wybera all at the same time. All four of them were kind of jockeying behind. Was you just trying to use the air to your advantage? I know it's not as much of an advantage in this car as it is in others, but I'm sure you were probably like, all right, I need to like try and see if I can position myself in a way, maybe to give this guy the draft over this one, and that kind of stuff going on.
So I thought about it, and I did try to do that a little bit more. Once Redinger got clear, I was thinking maybe I need to put some dirty air on him, and then I seen him get side by side with I think it was Case of Beer, and I was like, these guys are quicker than me in 1 and 2. They're going all out. I'm saving my tires a little bit, and then 3 and 4, I just figured out the just where my throttle position needed to be each lap to where I was able to get out of there and gap them up a little bit. That way I could let back off in 1 and 2. So I think that saved my right front tire to where the last few laps I was able to go. I think the last 5 laps I was able to go all out in 1 and 2 and then keep running my line in 3 and 4. And that just kind of kept them behind me. But it was definitely a battle for sure. I thought, once Redinger got clear, I was done for. And then once Case of Beer got through, I was done for. Wasn't worried about Wybera. I figured he was done for at some point. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to take it there. Honestly, I thought if he got clear, I was done for too. Those guys were fast. So to be able to keep them behind me, I was working my butt off for sure.
So, man, it was such a crazy race for you because we saw you backwards. You ended up in the back. Then there was some netcode stuff that happened that put you off the pace. It seemed like you really didn't have the ability to show off the true pace of your car until the last 30, 40 laps of the race. Did you feel like maybe if you had some more time up front that maybe you would have had a little bit better confidence if maybe somebody got around you? Because we did see some of that stuff where like Wybera took the lead from Parham and then they kind of swapped back and forth. I know you didn't really have the ability to kind of like test that kind of stuff out earlier. So is that kind of why you're saying you would have been done for if one of them got around you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was able to get through the field pretty quickly. I mean, not for lack of talent by anybody, because it was definitely hard racing all the way through. I just knew that if somebody could get around me in 1 and 2, I didn't think I was going to be able to hold them off, even with my speed in 3 and 4. So it was just more so trying to maintain that gap more than anything. But yeah, definitely an eventful race. I know that, I went for a spin, and then me and Wybera, I still feel like that one was net code. I could literally read his numbers in my right monitor, like through my passenger window. And normally, I can't if I'm dooring somebody. So for us to spin, and I'll go back and look at it too. I'll watch the broadcast and see how that actually ended up. But yeah, that's kind of why I felt like I would have been done for had somebody been able to catch up to me in 1 and 2 and get around me.
Yeah, so looking back at last season's standings in the truck series on Wednesdays, you had one top 5 the entire season. We're 2 races in, and you already got a win on the board. How much does that do for your confidence going forward to the rest of the season?
I mean, it definitely boosts the confidence, being able to compete with the guys, especially, again, Wybera, Case of Beer, Redinger, Fritz, they're all fast. I mean, seeing Parham and Stinson back there, you knew it had to have been something that happened. Same with Lawless, those guys that, finished back in, what was it, 8, 9, and 10, and even Cowgirl in 12, those guys are going to be quick. So it boosts the confidence, but it's not going to put me in a spot where I feel like I'm going to be running this way every week. I know I'm going to have to, work my ass off basically to make it happen.
On that note, I'm gonna kick it over to my buddy. See if he's got any more good questions for you.
So, at one time, Kyle, it was at the very beginning of the race, I think, maybe the very first caution. We saw you sit in pit road for probably about a minute and a half or so, and we didn't know what happened to you. And then you went back and you took fuel only. And the time that you went back, me and Joe could have swore you were about to go a lap down because they were too wide already for the restart on the backstretch, and we didn't think you'd be able to get back up to speed before going a lap down and all this other stuff. And then a caution saved you. So, did you have damage that caused that minute and a half, that very first pit stop that you did? or was it something else?
No, it was something else. I had to
Oh.
make a couple of adjustments visually because it just felt off towards the beginning of the race. I felt like I was
Okay.
just sitting wrong, so I was just trying to adjust a couple things and then adjust um, my
Where
sound as well. It all felt really off for me. So I was like, I'm gonna fix this. I know that I can get back out there and stay on the lead lap. And then when they were coming out of two, I was like, or when I was catching back up, I was like, I'm gonna take some fuel. I can,
yeah.
if it stays green, if we get lucky, I can keep going, whatever. And I realized that they were a lot further on, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to haul ass and get going. And I was
Right.
like, maybe I'll just Kyle Busch the field. And then I started catching up, and then by the time I caught back up, I was in third gear, and I realized I should have been in second. It was like, gosh,
Right.
shoot.
So talking about getting a little bit of extra fuel and stuff for your fuel stints and stuff. With this series running 100% fuel, a lot of the other places that we race in, this is another thing that me and Joe talked about during the broadcast, is this series running 100% fuel. That kind of changes up the fuel stints that we are normally used to running because, I mean, we're used to 70% fuel or 75% fuel. So, what kind of mindset do you think some of these guys need to be in whenever you're having to run a fuel stint that might have 25 or 30 more laps than what you're used to running on one set of tires?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna end up being one of those things where you have to pay attention to how you're racing because I know in some of the leagues yeah, you can go all out and you might wear out your tires with 10 laps of fuel left and it's not as detrimental, but here, having that extra 20, 30, 40 laps depending on the track, you really do need to start taking care of that right front. And it's a little easier with these cars because they do drive off the right rear a lot more than the next gens, but it's still really easy to overdrive the car and wear out that right front tire if you're not, thinking about it.
Talking about fuel laps, and you talking about some of those laps being a little bit longer than even the 25 or 30. How do you feel about Phoenix next week? Because that's a little bit of a shorter track, and those fuel runs, if it can stay green, that's a decent amount of laps. Because tonight, I think we calculated out to about 55 or 60 laps under green. If there wasn't a caution of what that fuel run would have been.
Yeah, I think Phoenix is definitely going to be one of those tracks that it's going to be easy to wear out that right front, especially going into 1 and 2. If you dive it in there too much, you're going to end up wearing it out pretty quickly. 3 and 4, it should be pretty normal for the most part because you're not off the throttle and you're not driving it as deep and having to wait on it as much as you would normally. But 1 and 2 for sure, you're going to have to take it easy on. Otherwise, you're going to be hurting, especially in probably the later quarter of the run. So definitely looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun race, that's for sure. It's one of my favorite tracks to race at.
And mix in the netcode stuff, and we have a some type of a party. I don't know if we'll see all the sparks that we saw tonight, though. It was like a fireworks show the whole race, where you guys were in the corners.
Oh yeah, it was great watching it. It definitely reminds you of the old days where you see the sparks from the guys from the amount of downforce that they got going on.
Well, Kyle, congratulations on the win. I think this is I wasn't on the track, but being broadcasting, I think this is the first race that I've been involved in some fashion that I've been able to see you win. So that's pretty fun. I know you've won other races that I wasn't a part of or stuff, but so it was fun to see you get the win tonight. And Joe, that's all I got, I think.
Well, I appreciate that.
All right. Well, Kyle, you got anybody to shout out before we let you go here?
Honestly, my teammates over at MC Motorsports and got Case of Beer and Michael Mata. It's nice to see Mata back, even though he didn't have the best of race. But Case of Beer bringing it home fourth. I thought maybe me and him would be able to pull off a 1 and 2, but a lot of tight battle in there for second, especially in the last 3 or 4 laps. So shout out to them. Shout out to you guys for putting this on, especially live. It's fun to do. I know KK and I have been enjoying the live broadcast as well. So appreciate what you guys do and everybody in this series, all the admins, and then of course my final shout out. Well, final two shout outs. Appreciate it, Wybera. Awesome. Garbage Man says hey from Victory Lane. And my 988 suicide awareness and prevention, as always. If you're ever feeling down in the dumps or less than, or just like you ain't got anybody to talk to, there's definitely guys out there to talk to. You guys might not necessarily always agree on the track or get along the best in that realm, but I guarantee if you need somebody to talk to, they're going to be there, myself included. So definitely reach out. Don't be afraid. That's all I got.
Great message from Kyle and I. Congratulations on the race win tonight. Go get your celebration going here early. Kyle and I, race winner from Las Vegas.
Appreciate it, guys.
Let's see. Looks like we do have the admin of the series sitting in the podcast waiting. We're going to pull him up here, see if old Patrick Calgill may have something to add. We know his co-admin, Zach Panzarella, wasn't able to be here tonight. Patrick, I'm not sure if maybe you had some sort of admin notes or something to add. Wanted to make sure we got anything on the broadcast. Get you pulled up in here for a minute. You got us?
Yeah. I don't really have a whole lot of notes. I know that there's going to be at least one person getting penalized for impeding lead lap traffic. But that's
definitely going to have some stuff that we're going to have a look back on the results. So nothing pretty much else to really look at after this one?
No, I don't think so.
And of course, looking at
we
the
may
points,
have to look back on the whole netcode issue and see if there's something we can do about it, though.
Hold on, let me see.
Yeah, that was definitely something we wanted to discuss. Was the netcode kind of stuff. We've seen it a lot last week, this week. I know we definitely want to make sure we get that all sorted out as well. So definitely glad to hear. I'm sure we're gonna work together behind the scenes to see if we can figure something out for that one. So yeah, just wanted to make sure we got all of our bases covered here. So looks like, talking about you personally, it looks like you're in 5th place after tonight in the points. Pretty much stayed right where you were, tied with your teammate there, Matt Novella. So personally, from the driver's standpoint, maybe not the greatest of races for you, result-wise, with the way it went, but definitely some promise on the speed end.
Yeah, I thought tonight was going great. Then I got sandwiched into the wall, and my wheel was turned like 45 degrees to the left, and so that last 42 laps was a pain in the butt because my wheel's not perfectly round, so it felt weird trying to hold the wheel to where it felt like it was in the right spot, and then apparently the way my wheels were messed up, it was wearing off my left front, and I ended up blowing a left front tire with like 3 laps to go. I was still able to finish on the lead lap, surprisingly, but yeah, it was a lot of, pretty much a big pain after I got sandwiched into the wall.
So little bit stressful on the race side and then on the admin side as well, but we'll all power through it. Buddy, I'll kick it over to you. I don't know if oh wait, actually Buddy's working on something in the background, so I'm gonna see if I can think up another question here about tonight's race. So yeah, I know we were talking about the netcode kind of stuff. I know that's one of the big problems that we've been talking about, trying to see if we can figure something out, but usually when that happens, it's usually something to do with iRacing itself and not really the setups, though, when we're discussing that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think this is all an iRacing ordeal, and even though they haven't moved this car to Legacy, from what I understand, they're not doing any more updates to it, so it might be something that we just have to deal with for the rest of the season and then switch to something else at the end of the season, or
that was
I don't know
go
yet.
ahead. That was one of the things we talked about during the broadcast earlier in the broadcast about how the car's kind of retired, even though it's kind of in that weird limbo state. So it's really hard to see iRacing wanting to put any time into the car to try to fix the issues that has happened since the next gen has came in. Barring all of that, one of the questions that I have is, what do you coming to Phoenix next week? A little bit shorter track, and I can only assume we are going to see the same netcode problems. So is there anything I know it's hard to control netcode problems from an iRacing perspective, but coming from an admin perspective, how is it something you think that can be cleaned up?
I think it can be a little bit cleaned up. If people are giving each other room. Um, I mean, it seems like for the most part, the net code is about like a 6-inch bubble around the car. So like if you're giving somebody more than 6 inches, you're less likely to have a net code incident with them than if you're right up against their quarter panel. I think that next week at Phoenix, it might be a little bit better because that setup is a little bit more stable. So I think it'll be a little bit easier for everybody to control the vehicle and possibly keep that gap. Whereas tonight, the car felt more floaty, so it was a little bit harder to keep that space between people.
All right. Yeah, it's such a hassle to deal with. And this used to be one of my favorite cars back before the next gen came in, and it's kind of disappointing seeing the state that the car is in now, to where it's almost, I'm not going to say that it's not usable, but it's definitely a headache to use, it seems like, from these last 2 weeks. And this is the first time I've seen the car really used anywhere since the next gen took over.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that. It is a little bit of a headache.
Well, Joe, that's all I had. And I know there's not really, everything else was kind of answered as far as the how it's going to have to be handled and stuff. So,
Well, Patrick, since we pulled you up for some admin business, we'll give you a shout out and any chance for you to shout anybody out. Of course, shout you out for all the work you put in behind the scenes with Zach and all the rest of the admins for the series, making sure that we have everything that's going on. I know we got a lot of cool stuff that we're working on in the background, so everybody keep your eyes peeled for some new cool stuff as well as we work through this season. But floor's yours.
Yeah, I gotta thank my sponsor, CTN MB1 Connect and Cure. They're a nonprofit organization working to find a cure for CTN MB1 syndrome, which my oldest daughter has. And then I got to thank everybody in DDI for all the help that they put in, and I got to thank my wifey for letting me race. I definitely got to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. I think you guys are doing an awesome job. You definitely make it look better than it feels like it is in the car. And then also I got to thank Zach for basically creating this league. So I have somewhere to run all the stuff in.
Well, we love all that, Patrick. It's so great to have you up here. I know we're gonna have you up. Oh my God, yeah, there you go. Great, great, great. I'm so done. It's been such a long broadcasted race. Patrick, I know we're gonna have you up here soon though for a podium finish or even get back into victory lane. You won so many races last season, so I'm looking forward to that day when you're back up here celebrating a victory. But it's great to have you up here, and we look forward to working with you guys throughout the season and going forward. So thanks, Patrick, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you next week, maybe in victory lane.
I hope so. Thank you guys.
yeah.
Patrick Calgill, one of the admins of the series, him and Zach Panzarella, of course, the two main admins for the series. Always great to get some words in from the admins when we can. Make sure we get any sort of housekeeping done and notes going on with the car. But unfortunately, that is going to be the big story At second to the points, I know you popped him up there for a second. Ken Redinger, with another great race, was able to pull an even larger points lead, even with the Kyle Lynott win, moving him up to second. He's now got a 33-point lead there from first to second. Jay Stinson does lose a spot, even though he got a top 10 tonight. Jonathan Casabier with those 2 top 5 runs now falls to fourth. It looks like SETI there, just behind Stinson. The big thing I'm watching is that cut line, though. The cut line is a little bit messed up on Sim Racer Hub. Right now, you got a tie for 11th between Steve Lewis, Mark Zabok. Those two would be 11th and 12th lock in. And then 1 point behind them is Dalton Geyer, Danny Sanchez. You see Lawless, Finnegan, 3 points back. Graham McGivern right there as well. Some guys missed tonight, though, and that's going to hurt them in the points. Chase Greer was a big guy missing. He lost 12 spots after top 10 last week. He fell to 20th. That's one of the big ones I'm looking at. Also looking at Zach Hillman, back-to-back DNFs to start the season for him. Only 148 laps completed through 2 races. He's got a lot of work cut out for him to get back into that picture as well with how his season started. But we got a long season ahead of us, buddy, and there's a lot to unpack and a lot to learn as we go through every race.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm afraid it's going to be different every week. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the schedule right fast, talking about the points. I was trying to figure out right fast why my cut line wasn't working. It's because there's no 12th space. There's no 12th spot listed because there's so many ties right around that cut line. So it just doesn't have a cut line there because the position doesn't exist the way that I have that written. But I'm going to bring up the schedule. And we've seen what super speedways are like. We've seen what intermediates are like. And next week we will get a preview of what short-ish tracks are like. And then the week after that, we go to Auto Club, and then we hit a road course. So definitely probably still going to I'm trying to think. And then we hit a short track right after Sonoma.
That is the next. What is that? That's the next 4 weeks are going to tell us all we need to know about the car, because Phoenix is a flat track, mostly flat track, where the guys really move around a lot lane wise, and they can get very tight, especially coming out of 2 with each other. So we're going to see what it's like with that with the netcode. Auto Club is going to be a bigger version of what we saw tonight. It's going to be something between Daytona and what we saw tonight. So I'm going to expect that to be pretty chaotic. Sonoma is potentially could be the most normal of these 4 races, as shocking as that is to say. That might be the most straightforward out of the 4. We'll see if I'm correct or not in the future. Road courses without the cautions and everything usually make them pretty straightforward on how they go, but you never know. I mean, there's walls at Sonoma, especially in the hairpin. I mean, you never know what could happen with this netcode. So that could be interesting. And then Bristol the week after is going to be the biggest test I see on the schedule pretty much until the chase there towards the end of the season. Bristol is going to be a massive test on the netcode and everything going forward. So the next 4 weeks are going to really decide where we are. It is unfortunate that the car is such a big discussion, because we've had some really great runs the first 4 weeks, buddy, and we've seen Casabier come close to victory twice. Lynott gets his first victory on Wednesdays in a long time. We saw Ken Redinger immediately get back to victory lane, and once again in full season form with his points lead. So there's so many good stories that unfortunately are getting overshadowed by the car.
Right. Yeah, that is unfortunate. But the car is it's kind of like the elephant in the room right now, I think, especially from our interviews. We heard drivers not really having a good time with it. We could tell they're not having a good time with it. Tempers are flaring. I think it's one of those where your hands are tied, and it's going to take a lot of patience from everyone involved.
Buddy, I think we're about ready to wrap it on up here from Vegas. Before we do, I wanna, of course, we got to go over that old schedule, and then I'm gonna have a serious question to ask you. The schedule we got going on, though, of course, DDI ARCA series now under Shameless Watch Collector. That series is currently in dirt season. They're getting signups for the new ARCA season that will start in a few weeks. Monday Mayhem Cup just started this past Monday at Charlotte. Great race to start the season. Go check out that broadcast from Mean Gene Money, Zach Panzarella. Next week is Auto Club. Big Trucker Tuesday last night was at IRP. That was a chaotic one where Mean Gene broke the air horn. Go check out that one. You just watched the Wednesday SWC Moonlight Cup Series race with Smokin' Joe and Buddy the Professor. Tomorrow night, go check out KK and Kyle Lynott in the booth for the Quantum Contender Series. And then Sunday is at Auto Club this coming week for the Bonfire Premier Cup. Mean Gene Money, Smokin' Joe on the call for that one. Buddy, as we head out of Vegas, did you break even or did you lose it all at the casino?
Lost it all. Do you know why I lost it all?
Why'd you lose it all?
I pushed all in, and there being one more caution, and there never was one.
And that, my friends, is why you don't go all in on anything at any sort of casino table. Don't do it. Don't do it. I will say that I think I walked away with a couple extra bucks from the blackjack table, so I think I did a little bit better than my counterpart. It sounds like. Tried to stay away from any sort of all or nothing bets. Maybe some people needed some of that advice themselves out there. I know we love all going to the casinos, but yep, a great race here tonight. Very exciting. Congrats to Kyle Lynott. His victory happened in Vegas, but it certainly will not stay in Vegas. Kyle Lynott, your winner here at Las Vegas tonight, and we will be ready to rock and roll once again for you next week at Phoenix. For Smokin' Joe and Buddy the Professor, have a good night, everyone.